The college football experience Sunbelt 2024 schedule release and breakdown episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US based and available in 40 different states. Head to cut.com. That's KUTT.com. Use that promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you enter in NBA, MLB, NHL, college hoops, and much, much more. Sign up today. It's promo code SGPN. I'm sorry, TCE SGPN to get 100% deposit match. Once again, Underdog Fantasy promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Yes, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today, people. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Brian Bosworth, a.k.a. The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Sunbelt 2024 schedule release and breakdown episode going into the college football season. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, because there's not a conference we don't pay attention to. We were off last week because I was cherry bombed in Las Vegas. Standard operation there. As I was covering March Madness, still covering March Madness. Hop on over, check out the college basketball experience going live every day. And obviously, you know, you got the FCS college football experience, all dropping episodes, going through the transfer portal. We got the college baseball experience. And last night we even had a Frozen 4 podcast come out. We are hitting it on all sides. All angles. Let's go. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swig of Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Yes. David Thompson, probably a Sunbelt fan, if I had to guess.
Safe guess.
Yes. I am joined by my co-host. It feels like it's been a while. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh!
Let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
I love the new Sunbelt 20 years, Sunbelt 10 years ago. I was like, Sunbelt these days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll take it over the Big Ten. I'll take it over the SEC. Give me the Sun Belt.
Hell yeah.
We are also joined by third man in the boot, the DFS god himself, and we're still playing DFS. We just filled out a UFL. Subscribe to the UFL Gambling Podcast DFS slate for this weekend's action. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free luck giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's up, guys?
That's what's up. Hey, it's been you know, we had last week off. Patty C's already lost touch with his camera. We're clean 4 minutes into this thing.
Is it already gone? Shit.
Yeah, he said, "Hey-o." He did the introduction and then he's fucking out. YouTube.com/the college experience.
Just so he can still invoice the show, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I was there. I was
there.
fucking there. You see me there. Shout out to the chat, Matt Austin, Weehog, Matt Party, the Bettis legend. Yeah, and we got to talk a little Sunbelt. Well, I know Patty C just hopped out of here. He's trying to hop back in, but there was a little bit of news, unfortunately, that happened over the past week in the college football realm. Clemson is suing the ACC to get out of their grant of rights. I don't know if it will be successful, but I can tell you this. After listening to a few different people that are closer to it than me, seems inevitable now, though, that Clemson is out of the ACC moving forward. Like they think in the next 2 to 3 years, from people that cover it, which means panic to me. Maybe the ACC is sustainable, but I don't know that it would have North Carolina in it. I don't know that it would have Miami in it. It just seems, unfortunately, like I want the ACC, the Big 12, the Pac-12 to all exist. It ain't gonna happen, in my opinion. I mean, it might be the ACC existing, but hell, East Carolina might be in the ACC. The Sun Belt might be the ACC. I don't know, but I am terrified of the future that sits ahead for college football. Nick, your thoughts on the Clemson Tigers saying "fuck you, ACC"? A
couple of things. I don't think the ACC is going to completely dissolve like the Pac-12. If and when, probably more likely when they lose members, it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be all of a sudden. I think they'll be able to backfill them. But obviously, the strength of the conference will take a major hit, especially when it comes to football. So yeah, I think Clemson, kind of the same thing like we said with Florida State. I think they'll be able to leave the conference for a certain set of money that's negotiated. That's not the full price, but it's still fairly substantial. My whole thing is that these teams or these universities, they have to have landing places. Is it the SEC? Is it the Big Ten? I don't know if I see Clemson or Florida State in the Big Ten.
I can see.
We
Florida
mentioned
State.
possibly the Big 12, but it's not like they have that much more money than the ACC. And if they can offer the teams more, but if the teams are also spending money on that big exit fee, it might not make sense financially. So
one of the things that was interesting in the 12-team playoff revenue share was that the Big 12 was not going to agree to it unless they had in writing that they essentially could rewrite the way the finances are done without the ACC. You hear my son? Yeah. That's what I was just sitting there. I'm like, God. But they actually wrote it. Brett Yormark got it in writing of that if the ACC is not there, that they can take this contract's not concrete for the ACC or any of the other conferences. But I would assume, and from what I understand, Yormark and them were not going to agree to the deal unless they had that leverage, which makes it interesting to think that maybe they are the ones behind the scenes, because I know their TV contract's only for a few years, but I don't know.
Hold on, can you say that again?
So the revenue sharing for the new 12-team playoff, right?
Yeah.
The ACC and Big 12 have the same amount, but the Big 12 are not going to be on board with that unless they put in there that there's a changing landscape. The ACC is not tied to it, right?
Right.
And it was Brett Yormark, the one that wanted that. So it makes you kind of think that he's scouting ACC teams essentially, because they needed unanimous, like they needed all four power commissioners to go on board with this.
Isn't the revenue sharing like you get X amount of money for each team you have in the playoffs, or is it
no? But there's percentage. Yeah, there's a percentage of it. Like I want to say, man, I should have had this all ready for this. The Big Ten and SEC will get something like I think 60%, if not more, give or take.
Well, the Big 12 now, how many teams are in it now? Or next year, once they
16,
add,
I believe, right?
I think it's more than
No,
that, right?
18.
18.
Yeah.
So how much more would they add, and how much, how would that make sense financially, unless they could make a shit ton more money? I could see maybe
Well, their
two,
TV contract's up in like 3 years too, so maybe that just as far as the ACC. But I don't know that they would get Clemson or Florida State. But I'm telling you, it's like a IKEA table. Like I feel like Clemson now suing the ACC when Clemson and Florida State pull out, which I think is inevitable. Whether the ACC gets money from it, they get a deal, or whether a judge grants it. I think North Carolina and Miami will be right after that. North Carolina already did the steps to basically ensure that they don't need NC State's consent to go with them. They already have done that.
They've cleared that with the
they
state.
cleared that with the state. So it sucks. I mean, all this sucks, but it makes me.
You think North Carolina and who will be right behind them? Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have conferences with like 24 teams.
Yeah, I think inevitably.
Yeah, that's not a conference anymore.
But this,
two
I mean, still
It's
not
a
a
league.
conference at 18 with the Big 10 at 18 and the Big 12 at 18. It's like, well, this is what's stupid about it. And that it brings me back to the article that I was reading that I told you about off air the other night, Nick, was that it was an interesting approach. And I wish I had the article. I haven't had time. You heard my crying son. But I thought it was an interesting article about how like the power programs they want to, separate from the NCAA and form their own, system there, because they feel with the NIL, they feel threatened that a team like Grand Canyon or whoever, Joe Schmo University, could all of a sudden just start buying players and fill the best team, and then they would lose out. So they have to do something because they're losing that power.
And they already kind of have that with the college football playoffs, because that is no longer sanctioned by the NCAA. So that's the first thing they started. How many years ago now?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
12 years ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it's good news for the future of the sport personally. And I think Clemson is added to my new hate list. Fuck you, Clemson. And
well, the one league that is kind of rock solid right now, no changes this year as far as teams, no rumors of teams leaving or coming, is the Sun Belt.
True. But I do appreciate Clemson's president. I'm paraphrasing here, but when they signed that big deal with the ACC, with ESPN to 2035, he said, in a time of unstable times, this contract here is the best thing that could happen to our university and our conference. And moving forward, we are delighted to be in that conference. Oh, really? 6 years later, you're fucking bitching. 8 years later, whatever it is.
If you have enough money, no contract is ironclad.
But yes, the Sun Belt is, to me, I don't know if do we want to talk anymore about Clemson leaving? You think, I don't know, 2-3 years from now, I don't think Clemson and Florida State will be in the ACC.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, that topic's done. Fuck you, Clemson and Florida State.
Let's talk Sunbelt basketball. No, I'm joking.
Ooh.
Patty C, I was pretty kind. I was pretty nice. I didn't, send any text or anything. Hey, it was a hell of a year by JMU in football and basketball. Like I said on the basketball podcast, it just sucks they lost both their coaches.
Yeah, ACC might be saying Clemson's going. Let's get James Madison in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Virginia and Virginia Tech might have something to say about that.
Well, I don't know where they will end up either, but all right, let's schedule. A couple of weeks ago, the Sun Belt schedule was released. We were in the middle of doing college hoops, and we're going week by week, conference by conference each week, going through the schedule. So we are going to take a look at the brand new Sun Belt schedule for all 14 members. We're going to go team by team, ranking them, talking about it, the exciting, what's exciting about this season, the matchups we're looking forward to. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Network. All right. You are listening to the College Football Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and SGPN is home to over 20 plus gambling podcasts that are all completely free. In honor of March Madness, this week's featured shows are the Sports Gambling Podcast, the flagship SGPN show hosted by Ryan Real Money Kramer and Sean Stacking the Money Green, where the guys have picked every tournament game against the spread since 2012. And of course, the College Basketball Experience, hosted by myself and Moneyline Mac, as well as Noah Beanick. They continue their unmatched coverage of college basketball betting. So check them out. Subscribe today to the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Basketball Experience, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we are back on this thing, and Matt Party is still mad at Virginia basketball. For that embarrassing tournament performance against Colorado State.
Man, the ACC would be undefeated if it wasn't for that.
You're like, if they had just not put them in, you'd be undefeated.
Sometimes less is more.
Well, let's jump into this here, because I've been behind the scenes painting pictures like I'm goddamn Picasso over here.
The shelves look pretty good. They look straight to me from here. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Patty's familiar with the whole shelf drama in the background.
Yeah, the shelf drama all over the place.
He's been getting a lot of hate about
I
those
pulled
shelves.
out the level, and the shit is solid. All right?
Hey, Colby's earning his handyman stripes now. You know.
It's level. I don't care what people say. It's my computer that's not, my table that's not, and the room goes down. It's an interesting room.
Yeah, between that and the kid, your domestication levels are skyrocketing.
I'm all fucked up.
I think interesting means poorly constructed.
Not by me, but by whoever built this house. Yeah.
The room, yeah.
Oh, it is very abstract. Like, yeah. I as a fellow artist, I appreciate abstract houses.
Artist. That's a
yeah. Well, it's like a Subway. It's like a Subway sandwich artist. You know what I mean? I mean, first schedule here as Patty cracks open that beer.
If you don't mind, let's talk about best and worst of the conference, because best of the conference is kind of tough because all the coaching movement. Obviously, like JMU and Troy would have been there in the best, and perhaps they still are. But the fact that they lost coaches, I mean, what's your top 3 or 4 teams?
Coming into the season, I would say Appalachian State would be the team that I would put number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think, would probably be Troy.
Even with the new head coach?
I don't know, because I feel like they've been kind of coach proof. App State's certainly number 1. I mean, South Alabama got a new coach. Marshall wasn't that great last year.
No,
9-4, but yeah, they weren't. Their rating is really low. But
you sure you're not looking from 2 years ago?
Yeah, I don't think they went 9.
Am I looking at an old one? I think
they went 6-7.
Yeah.
Dude, does Texas State belong in the top 3 or 4?
Definitely. And I actually am going to get a future. We'll get to that later. I'm going to get a future on the Bobcats.
Yes.
Because I think they're in a great fucking spot. But I Coastal looked pretty good in Tim Beck's first year. I think Georgia Southern is going to be more, I didn't like the Clay Helton hire. I think they're looking at another, like, they'll make a bowl, but they're not top tier.
Middle of the pack. Yeah.
Marshall has the potential to be top tier always. Marshall does. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like App State is kind of a head and shoulders above everyone else right now.
I mean, shouldn't JMU still be in the mix?
I love the hire, but they lost their whole fucking roster. It's like, how fast can you replace the roster?
Yeah, I'm very wary about being bullish on one of my teams after having lost their entire roster and their coach after Cincinnati last year. So I'm expecting a backslide here.
Might take a couple years.
Yeah.
And then towards the bottom, I mean, I think ULM is the obvious, worst team in the conference.
And they got rid of Bowden. To me, they always schedule one of the hardest, and I don't think they should have fired Bowden. I thought he deserved another year, but ULM normally, I mean, Arkansas State, I still think was phony good.
they went to a bowl game and they went 4-4 in the conference.
I think a schedule.
I think ULM is like actually by itself at like the bottom tier.
Can I throw one out there that I think is going to be there?
Georgia State.
Yes, because when you have a coach leave during spring practice,
right.
I think Georgia State is going to be a fucking train wreck this year.
I believe Darren Green is gone.
Yeah, they lost everybody, and
they only went 3-5 in the league last year. So I think I'd be hard pressed to have them going that same conference record this year. I think it's gonna be worse. So if anything, if there's bottom tier and you want to add somebody with ULM, I agree. I think it's Georgia State.
Yeah.
What did you guys touch on Texas State?
We think they're contenders. I actually, if I had to blindly power rank the Sun Belt, I would say, like, off the top of my head, App 1, Texas State 2, 3. 3. I think I would probably
Troy. That's
say Troy. Tough. I would probably say Troy. 4, Coastal.
Yeah, and then South Alabama maybe.
Yeah, 5, South Alabama. They're state major Applewhite now. They coach there, right?
JMU also. I think JMU is still top half of the league.
They just lost a shit ton. They just lost a shit ton.
They're just like way better than most of the league, though.
Yeah, I mean they
smoking,
but
team.
No one is there from that team. It's like you just said with Cincinnati. It's like you can go from a playoff team to a 3-win team.
You lose that much. They did
Cincinnati
lose a lot.
Was also stepping into the Big 12. You know, I mean, yeah, but did JMU lose a lot of the people you've heard of? Yes, but that doesn't mean like the depth that they've been, building up year after year. I mean, a lot of those guys are probably still there. I think JMU is still a top half of the Sun Belt.
I think it's razor thin. I'm not going to say they're not. But I like Louisiana has been the team that's recruited the best over the few years. Desmond Rose in a huge year. I would still like watching Bob Chesney at Holy Cross. I would think they're going to be better than Louisiana, but Louisiana is definitely, if we're paying attention to the recruiting rankings, of the team we should watch out for. Arkansas State as well.
I mean, it's pretty crazy to say that a 5-team, a team with a 5-game, I guess, edge over the other team last year would be, questionable as to whether we project them to be better this coming year. But with, I guess, JMU losing as much, and if you're thinking that Desarmo and the recruiting is going to finally pay off for Louisiana, then maybe they are, interchangeable there. I think JMU's ahead of Louisiana.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: since the Sun Belt is also one of the only divisions left, one of the only conferences left with divisions, I still have the East being better than the West. Pretty decisive.
Yeah, but so I think the number is 18 players transferred off of last year's team.
It's a lot. Most
of those guys starters
at JMU.
Yeah.
And also, how many people did they lose from graduation? That's probably another 10.
Yeah. Now they did bring in a couple Holy Cross guys. Holy Cross's program was decent.
We got that quarterback from Washington. They're backed up.
Yeah, who was a big time recruit at one point. Dylan Morris is who we're referring to. I mean, look, it's a hard team to project because I do think they made a great hire. It just how fast can he get it going? And also, like scheduling in the, when you have a 14-team conference, so much like we saw with the ACC in Louisville last year, it's like the team that gets the favorable schedule. I think Marshall could end up in the top side of this. I think it's possible for Marshall to end up in the top side of this conference because
sure.
To me, like the line between, like, I think we can count on App State and Texas State being really good this year.
I would think so.
After that,
are we sure about Texas State? I mean, TJ Kinney just got this thing going,
dude. Like. Their schedule's amazing.
It wasn't last year his first year, and they were like 3-9 the year before.
Yeah, but to me, like his roster, that's where McLeod went. JMU's quarterback.
Okay,
I think his roster's only gotten better.
Sun Belt Player of the Year, and he goes to another fucking Sun Belt team.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Sun Belt on Sun Belt crime.
Yep. Matt Party says JMU's in trouble this year. Listen, they're telling you their whole team left. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like I do love the coaching hire though, so he can get the maximum out of his roster. So we saw it fucking Holy Cross, but this is a lot different than the Patriot League. You know what I mean? Like you don't have Georgetown you're going up against. You're going up against a lot better teams. You know
who is the absolute basement that a mid-level Sun Belt team is definitely going to beat. Obviously, I would think Monroe.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, Monroe and Georgia. I think Georgia State's going to be there this year.
Southern Miss took a step back. They look
but they're going to be good this year. I think they went out. See, the problem last year is they didn't have a quarterback. The year before they went to a bowl. They landed
last year. They've had a quarterback in like
since Brett
Favre.
No, but the year before they had better quarterback play, like more consistent. It was they kind of had
Frank
a
Gore Jr. or whatever his name is.
2 years ago, Frank Gore Jr. was getting snapped.
No, but they also had another guy that was a quad. I'm drawing a blank. I think he's at JMU.
He was hurt a lot too, though. I mean, it was that year.
Keys,
they had
is his name Keys? Ty Keys, I think
you're right. Yeah.
Last year they were really, really bad at the quarterback spot, much worse than the year before, and they went out and got Tate Rodemaker from Florida State. So
that's a nice pickup.
I think that was the missing piece. To me, when I looked at the rest of their team, I thought it was decent. I think they're going to be back on the way up, and the question marks around JMU, South Alabama, and Troy losing all their coaches. You know, a team we haven't talked about that I think was really impressive last year, considering they lost everybody, was Old Dominion. Ricky Ronnie, I thought did a hell of a job coaching last year. Maybe that's another team that could be towards the top. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the middle is gigantic here. I feel like I said, App State and Texas State. Then there's a drop off of like 9 teams probably.
Again, you know? I think you have App State kind of at the top by itself just because of the uncertainty with JMU. Maybe Troy, you know. But
they lost their head coach too, man. That's what I'm saying. Troy and South Alabama lost their head coaches.
They've been good for a minute though. Troy has.
No, they struggled though. They had a coach between Neil Brown. Neil Brown had it fired. Then they went to another coach who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Troy just came back on the map 2 years ago.
Yeah,
because they had 3 or 4 down years.
Okay,
it took Summerall a little while to get it going.
Either way, I think we're a little bullish on Texas State right now.
Well, a lot of it is the schedule and the talent that they continuously bring in. To me, you'll see when we get to the schedules. But so yeah, to me, if there's a tier A, it's those two. Tier B would be a slew of teams to me: Marshall, JMU, Coastal, Troy, South Alabama, Georgia Southern. After that would be Louisiana and Old Dominion. Yeah.
You might not be able to throw like everybody else in there other than ULM and Georgia State. That's what I think. There's really like 2 or 3 teams at the very top, 2 teams at the very bottom, and the whole middle could be very jumbled.
It's kind of what makes the Sun Belt fun.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's weird because that's what makes the MAC boring to me. But it's because there's like a top. You know, the MAC doesn't have a top. At least the Sun Belt usually has like a couple.
Toledo's at the top, dude.
Ohio.
Yeah, they've been good for a minute.
Yeah. D. Bettis says, which teams have coaching changes? The coaching changes in the Sun Belt. ULM got rid of Terry Bowden. He's gone.
Vincent is in.
Yeah, the old UAB interim head coach for Bill Clark. Then we lost the head coaches at Georgia State. Sean Elliott just up and left for a tight end position with the Gamecocks of South Carolina like 2 weeks ago, like mid-spring ball. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out.
They hired Del McGee, who was Georgia's run game coordinator, as replacement.
That's such a hard spot for the athletic director. Yeah. Everyone else is already in positions. It's like reminds me of Colorado when Mel Tucker left. But then you also had South Alabama, Major Applewhite's the new head coach. Kane Womack left for Alabama's defensive coordinating position. And then Troy, John Summerall left for Tulane. And
Gerard Parker in.
And then James Madison, obviously. Kurt Signetti heads out to Indiana, and they bring in what's my guy's name? I just said his
Bob Chesney.
Yeah, Bob Chesney. Great singer. No, but Bob Chesney. So I think that's all of them, right?
Yes.
Butch Jones made it through. Yeah.
Five of the 14.
Yeah. So let's jump into this Appalachian State schedule. We got it right here in front of us. YouTube.com/the college experience. I have it ranked as the 3rd hardest in the Sun Belt. If you see that number in the bottom left-hand corner, those are my official rankings. The non-con is awesome. Good God.
Does App State know how to schedule or what?
It is so perfect.
Every year.
First off, you got East Tennessee State, who I am high on in the FCS, right? Good FCS, right?
an hour and a half away.
That's what I'm
maybe.
saying.
That's
Perfect regionality.
Yep.
Oh, mountain. Look, Smoky Mountains. Smoky Mountain football, Patty C. Say
Gotta
it.
love it.
Smoky Mountain football at its finest.
I mean, App State is in the Appalachian Mountains. The Smoky Mountains are a little bit further south in North
Still,
Carolina.
it sounds
but close
good when you
enough.
say it. Smoky Mountain.
It does.
Smoky Mountain football.
This ain't Smoky Mountain University. This is App State University.
I love that game against East Tennessee State. Most college football podcasts don't even highlight that game. Just gonna go ahead and say we love that. And you got to remember, App State used to be in the SoCon back in the day. So, then they're at Clemson. Remember, Clemson has Georgia week 1. So talk about a tough letdown spot there.
Oh, I can't wait for that game. I can't wait.
Let's go.
Those cowards trying to leave the ACC.
We've seen App. App obviously went to Michigan, went to Carolina and won, went to North Carolina and South Carolina went to Texas A&M and won, and should have won at Tennessee and at Penn State and at Miami.
Yep.
This is awesome. Can't wait for that game. Then I must say I enjoy the fact that ECU gets them after Clemson.
True.
They got to go to G Vegas, take on my Pirates, revenge match after last year's bullshit. Then they get a conference game. We'll go chronologically in a second, but then the Flamin' Libs come to Boone. This is perfect. The Liberty Flames are coming to Boone week 5. The non-con is awesome.
Yeah.
All
2
4 games
in-state
I'm
teams.
excited about.
Yeah,
All 4 games I want to watch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Clemson and Liberty.
Almost every year. Every once in a while, App throws in like a weird, like last year they had 2 FCS because of the scheduling conflict. Because they had Marshall as a non-con opponent, but they moved into the Sun Belt. But I feel like every year, App State's schedule is just very interesting. Sorry to cut you off, Patty.
Well, and then
No, you're right.
Then when you add in you don't see ULM on the schedule. You do see Georgia State, who we think could be ass. So now going chronologically, week 1, ETSU, the Buccaneers out of the FCS and the SoCon. Week 2 at Clemson. Week 3 at East Carolina. Then home to South Alabama. Major Applewhite. Are you ready for one of the biggest games, probably all year for the Jags as they head to Boone week 4. Then week 5, the Flamin' Libs come into Boone. So your first 5 opponents to me, all fun. Week 6, does it stop? No, it's awesome. I love this game. I think it's just a low key, fun game that there's no name for the rivalry yet, but they've been rivals since back when they're in the FCS. One of the low key best rivalries to me in the Sun Belt is this right here: Appalachian State at Marshall, followed by a trip to Cajun Field in Lafayette, Louisiana, to take on Louisiana. Look, I mean, the first 7 games are challenging, Nick. Then they get a bye week 8. Then they're home to Georgia State, which we think will be one of their most winnable games. Then home to Old Dominion, who surprised us last year. Then they head to Conway, South Carolina. NC Nick's been to this game
2 years ago. It was also on a Thursday night in early November, and App State lost that game. So it's tough. It's tough to go into the beach and get a dub.
I love this schedule. I mean, first, it's a Thursday night, I think, NC Nick, or a Wednesday night, one of the two.
It's a Thursday night.
Yeah. That is awesome. Then they get a bye week. And you got to like Patty C as a JMU fan, because I know this rivalry spicing up in basketball and football.
Oh, man.
App State, JMU. You got to love that Chesney's getting them this late in the year. He'll know his team a lot better.
Now,
it definitely helps to have worked out most of the kinks with the offense and the quarterback, and getting them. I guess App State's coming off a bye. I didn't check to see if JMU was getting them off a bye.
And then the final week, and shout out to Clay. I know he's out there somewhere in the universe doing the first down markers for Georgia Southern. But we got the deeper than hate rivalry: Georgia Southern, App State. Fuck yes, this schedule's awesome. I'll be honest. Like, I think every single game is watchable. Like it has me somewhat excited. Georgia State might be the only one. Every other game I go, oh, I want to see this. I want to see this, man. Georgia State historically, I don't know if they deserve the slander I'm giving them, because they've been a good program.
True.
What do you make of the schedule, Nick?
I think I had it ranked 5th. There's 2 sets of back-to-backs. Those back-to-backs are not easy. I mean, talk about at Clemson, at ECU, and then later, mid schedule at Marshall, at Louisiana. Those are our 2 tough back-to-backs. The two teams they get from the West are South Bama and Louisiana. Not the worst draw, not the best draw. They're two solid programs where you have to come to play in order to beat both them. So overall, I think it's going to be challenging, but I think App State has the experience. Aguilar coming back at quarterback. The coaching staff in their fourth year, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken.
Remember, we thought he was going to get fired.
He was close. He turned it around. Including that big win at JMU. Knocking off the undefeated Dukes. I was there in that game too. So I think it's a fun schedule. I think App State's going to do well, but they're going to lose a couple also.
Does it hurt that Ryan Berger, they were excited about a year ago, is now a flaming lib? Does it hurt that Nate Noel went to Missouri?
Well, I mean,
can't blame Nate Noel for that.
Well, Berger was beat out by Joey Aguilar.
Yeah.
So
no,
and Noel, I mean, as much as we all loved him, App State's got a slew of running backs, man.
They always do.
They ain't thin at the running back position.
It hurts to lose a really good one, though.
Sure.
But yes, they do have some studs back there.
Well, that's what we said when Marcus Williams left. It was like, who's this Nate Noel guy?
Yeah,
or Darrington Evans.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how they're getting them, but they just keep loading up. And maybe guessing admission, rates are pretty high.
Didn't they have Dietrich Harrington too? They just had fucking studs over the years, man.
Let me say this. Marshall, I know you mentioned that one. Let's be honest. I was thinking Marshall for the longest time was a mountain football, team. Elevation in Huntington, West Virginia, 564. In Boone, North Carolina, it's 3,232. So like your love for Colorado, Nebraska being mountains versus plains, we have mountains versus foothills in that rivalry. So, I got to give the edge to the mountain boys a little bit, even though JMU's in the valley. And
even last year with Marshall not being very good, they beat Virginia Tech at home.
Yeah.
Marshall at home is always a tough game.
Yeah, always. It's not Rocky Mountain elevation, but getting up there probably makes a little difference.
They put meth in your Mountain Dew as you're coming in. Yeah.
The other thing is, if JMU really hasn't fallen off like we are expecting they will a little bit at least, then at the end of the season, Marshall JMU could be for the Sunbelt East. And the fact that JMU is coming off a back-to-back road, the game before against Old Dominion in state, and then App State has a bye before JMU at home. That bodes well. So that's a schedule.
Dude, but that's still a ball buster. Like your final three opponents are all pretty much like rivals or really good teams. You know what I mean? Like at Coastal, home to JMU, at Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I mean, you argue like in conference, the only like little easy part is like that 2-game stretch coming off their first bye where they get Georgia State and ODU at home.
Yeah. Now, shout out to the Sun Belt though for keeping the deeper than hate rivalry the rivalry week game. That means something to me. A lot of college football conferences forget about this shit. Job well done for App State.
I feel like though, when maybe it was just me mistakenly, saying that Georgia State was Georgia Southern or vice versa. I forgot what it was online, but I caught a ton of flack on Twitter. Aren't Georgia State and Georgia Southern bigger rivals? Or
no,
because that's more recent.
Football program that didn't exist like 15 years ago.
That's right.
App State and Georgia Southern been rivals for a long fucking time. They were in the old SoCon back in the day, winning FCS championships and battling each other back to the days of John Settle.
That's true. Maybe the Georgia Southern folks were just more disgusted at me for
Dino Hackett.
Georgia State.
Yeah, exactly. Tracy Ham, let's go. I mean, I think this is an awesome schedule. I can't wait to watch pretty much every one of those games. Job well done. Job well done. Let's jump on over. This guy's got 9 lives. His name is Butch motherfucking Jones. All right. He's not fired. After losing like 70-0 in week 1 to Oklahoma, I was like, oh, he's going to be fired. Then they made that quarterback change like week 3 or 4. They went to that freshman. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but he's a stud. You know what I'm talking about, Nick? Who's that freshman quarterback that was a beast?
Yeah, he was good.
Brother.
It's Raynor, Jalen Raynor.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking stud. And it kind of changed their whole season once they went to him. Before that, they were trying to throw the old Colorado backup quarterback JT Shrout back there. That was not working out. I mean, look, I don't know. I kind of think they were phony good last year, but they got to be better. And they got went out and got Malik Hornsby, who's been at every goddamn college in the nation. I feel like our former Arkansas, Texas State quarterback. He might have been somewhere prior to that too. I don't remember. So you got to be a little bit excited about that, but they did lose a couple of their key players too, to the portal.
Hey, look, if you're high on Texas State in the second to last week of the season, Arkansas State at home beat Texas State 77-31. Ain't nothing fluky about that.
That is true. That is true. Shout out to Virgil. Says can't wait to follow a list of the college football experience. Started following Bowl Time last year. Hell fucking yeah, brother.
Although I don't know that Texas State's forte was defense. I think they got scored on quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. So, Arkansas State taking full advantage of that. Maybe is a little bit false.
No, that was a crazy game, if memory serves me correct. That was one where the yardage, like they had fluky plays, like pick sixes and block kicks.
There was some crazy stuff in that game.
Like I want to say like the yardage to win by that much, it was like a dead even game on yardage or something. It was like a slight lean to Arkansas State.
So in the fourth quarter, there was 2 pick sixes, and the last play of the third quarter was a kickoff return. So sorry about that. So
that inflates the scoreboard a little
bit. A little bit. It's still 77 points though. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you can get that, you flex, you tout that, you're talking shit all over Jonesboro. You're at the bars, right? You're having a bad time. Maybe the date's not going the way you thought it was. You order another shot and you say, "Oh yeah, we still scored 77 points, bitch." All right, we got something going. All right,
that's how you seal the deal. That's how you bring her home right there.
And then say, "I love you. I love you." And would you marry me? Yeah, Arkansas State's non-con home to Central Arkansas. Love the regionality of that game too. And I love this game.
Lo and behold, 2 Arkansas schools are allowed to play each other.
Yeah, the Razorbacks might be scared to play, their in-state brethren, but
not the Bears.
The Red Wolves.
Yeah, the Bears and the Red Wolves. Now, that's the thing, folks. If you don't know what we're talking about, in the state laws, Arkansas cannot play Arkansas State for some stupid reason. Which hurts college football, in my opinion. But Central Arkansas can. And shout out to that. But one of the things that I've always said, I'm a nerd at this shit, and I dive deep into college football year round, FCS and FBS. And I personally think Arkansas State should be playing Tulsa the final game of the season every year. Right? It's one of my ones. I went through it. I have a chart where everyone should be playing, and that one makes sense. There's the Arkansas-Oklahoma angle.
It's just a border battle, right?
Yeah, it's a border battle. I like that matchup. I'm glad it's on the schedule here, week 2. Personally, I think Arkansas State's going to lose, but so it's a tricky non-con game because I think Kevin Wilson's got that program looking all right. Week 3, they're in Ann Arbor. Lost.
You do have to like it though on the schedule.
I love it on the schedule. Love it on the schedule.
They've only played 6 times.
Arkansas State and Tulsa.
Yeah, how's that?
Well, that's because Arkansas State was FCS not that long ago. Like 20 years ago they were FCS. But or maybe 24 years ago, whatever it was like 98 or 99 that they came up. But I can tell you this: at Michigan and at Ames, back-to-back weeks.
Get those paychecks.
Yeah, that's right. Payday.
That's the non-con, and then we go into week 5 bye week. Week 6 home to South Alabama. Week 7 at Texas State. Week 8 going to Hattiesburg, take on Brett Favre with his blood money. Week 9 home to Troy, and they get a bye week, and they're at Louisiana, and they're at Georgia State in the place Dale Murphy used to hit dingers, and then home to ULM and home to Old Dominion. I gotta be honest, man. I gave them the 5th hardest schedule because of the non-con and the fact that that one part where you're home to South Alabama, at Texas State, at Southern Miss, home to Troy, probably going to be dogs in all 4 of those games. But after that, when that clears up, you can see clearly again. Johnny Nash at Louisiana, probably gonna be dogs. But at Georgia State, no one goes to those fucking games. Home to ULM, should be favored. Home to Old Dominion, who knows?
Slight dogs at Louisiana, I would think.
Yeah, like Louisiana by 3 or something, right?
Yeah, probably.
I had it fourth toughest goal because of the out of conference and 3 sets of back-to-backs.
That's another reason what gave me at fifth. But you can make a case that getting Old Dominion, ULM, Georgia State is a nice break.
True. I mean, first off, you're in the easier division, and then from the East, you get ODU and Georgia State, which is a gift.
Those were the number 3 and 4 teams in the East last year. Yeah, and then like you said, Troy was number 1 in the West, new coach. South Alabama was number 3 in the West, new coach. Texas State sucked 2 years ago, so maybe that was an aberration. And Arkansas State was number 4. So are they SEC West contenders?
SEC West, Sunbelt West,
Sunbelt West.
Sunbelt West. The Indians.
It's easy to confuse the two, you know. It's easy.
I don't know if I have Arkansas State being a contender just yet.
I just don't trust Butch Jones.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll make a bowl. They'll make the chimichanga bowl or some shit.
Some people in the chat are saying, "How come we didn't go to Vegas?" You know, I never get to because I have a daughter and wife birthday right around March Madness time. But I thought Patty C was going to go.
He said he was, but
you backed out, man.
Next year, I'm locking it up. I'm making it happen.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it. Mark my words right now.
Heard that before.
I will be in Vegas next year. You know, no, my job doesn't like me missing work, but now I got a little clout.
I don't get
any job that you can't go. I want to go get cherry bombed in Vegas for a week. All right, and they give you shit. Yeah,
is that frowned
upon? John's saying that's a lame excuse.
He's not wrong.
No, he's saying my excuse.
Yeah,
is
lame.
My daughter and wife birthday right there.
Yeah, come on,
you know,
fucking daughter's wife. What is this?
Arkansas State though, they're gonna be an interesting team to watch because I do think you got to like the fact that South Alabama, Troy, Georgia State all breaking in, new head coach, ULM breaking. Those are all teams that are all on the schedule. They're getting 4. How many new coaches are they getting? 4 in their conference games. 4. They get all 4 new coaches. Gotta like that.
Yeah.
Let's jump on over to the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. NC Nick, I had this Tim Beck. What's he doing over there? He's finagling things because he's God,
smart, man. He's smart. I had exactly at 13th also. This is a nice schedule.
Oh man, I was a skeptic. I was impressed. Tim Beck shut me up a little bit last year. They were more impressive than I thought they would be,
especially with the injuries to Big Bird, Grayson McCall. And the backup. They were on their third string for a couple of games, so a revolving door at quarterback, and they were able to still put together. What they go like 8-5 or something? I want to say.
Yeah, and then the main thing is they passed the eye test too. Yeah, I feel like they passed the eye test when you watch them.
They didn't pass it like they had previously, but they were still good.
But we thought it was a year where all this regression would happen. Some of their best players went to the NFL or went to the Flamin' Libs.
Or Lampkin, the center, went to UNC. But sometimes you're still living off the old coach. So I think it's a big year number 2 because now you're another year removed. Now it's it really is your program now. It's your players for the most part.
Yeah, so Larry Coker.
We'll
and there is no Big Bird. He's gone. But they brought in Noah Kim, the lawn chair quarterback from Michigan State.
Well, wasn't Big Bird 2 or 3 time conference player of the year?
Yeah.
And he used to piss Teal too.
He used to. Now he's pissed and pussy.
He got that fixed. He didn't piss Teal anymore.
So the non-con. Oh, what an underrated week 1 game.
That's fun.
Coastal Carolina, the Battle of the Cocks, the Chanticleers against the Gamecocks. There's a cock fest going on in Jacksonville, Alabama, folks, and Rich Rodriguez is part of it. All right,
I'm there for that. Come
on. That game's awesome. They're at Jacksonville State week 1, home to William and Mary. Patty C. Watch out, Mike London. Last time, 2 years ago, they went into Jerry Richardson Stadium and beat the Clits. Beat the Clits up.
Boom! Now they're going to beat the Dicks up, or I guess.
Yeah, the Cocks. Yeah. Then they're at Temple. I guess they wanted a game where no one would watch them, so they went up to Philadelphia to take on Temple. Then home to the Wahoos. Good luck, Patty C.
Now we're talking. I'm going to say right now,
I'm going to
lose. That game. I'm going to that game.
Let's go.
They could beat them. I mean, I expect Virginia to get a little better, but I think Coastal Carolina was. Would you say a lot better than Virginia last year?
They're better than Virginia last year.
I would
but
say a
not
little
lot.
bit better.
Yeah.
A little
not
bit.
by a
I think
lot.
if Coastal was in the ACC, their record probably would have been similar.
So Matt Party in the chat says, is Temple running Kurt Warner's son? No, he transferred out to Rice. You know, it's funny. They brought in Clifton McDowell. They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick from Montana. From Montana, their quarterback that took them to the championship. But damn, if McDowell didn't hit the portal again this past week. So I got no idea what's happening in Philadelphia.
He showed up. Saw the facility. Was like, no thanks.
Yeah, it's like Montana's way nicer. What am I doing here? So that's the non-con. Jacksonville State, William and Mary at Temple. So at Jacksonville State, home to William and Mary, at Temple, home to Virginia. Enjoy that non-con.
I mean, which one's more interesting, the Jacksonville State game or the UVA game?
Jacksonville State game.
Yeah, I agree.
Arguably the easiest non-con in the whole conference.
Yes, because you're hosting one of the shittiest Power Fives, and then at Temple. I mean, come on, they're one of the worst teams. Sam Drayton's going to be unemployed in at the end of the year.
And your only major conference opponent is at home and UVA.
Yeah. Then so your non-con is the first 4 weeks. Then week 5 you got a bye week. Then home to Old Dominion. Then at James Madison in Harrisonburg. Then home to Louisiana. Then they get a bye week. Then they're at Troy. Then home to App. Then at Marshall week 12, and then home to Georgia Southern and at Georgia State week 14. We'll say the backside of the schedule, having Troy, App, Marshall, and Georgia Southern in a row is tricky. You know?
That.
Yeah, I mean, getting Troy and Louisiana from the West is not a good draw, and but no back-to-backs, and they get App at home.
Yeah, it's a great schedule. It's Southern at home. Southern's not far away. Statesboro to Conway's not a far trip.
I will say, I mean, that's pretty darn unfortunate. I guess they at least get Troy off of a bye, but that's a road trip, and then having to go to App State. Those are two teams
No, they're hosting App.
Or yeah, I mean hosting App, but either way, you're playing the two teams that played in the conference championship game, whether deservedly or not. We're not going to go there right now, but look, I mean, especially with App being the second end of that, and that's the team that's probably going to be, like we say, the front runner in the East. That's the team they have to beat, and you just have to go through Troy right before that on the road. That's a tough break.
Yeah, John says Temple should be good. They need to stop playing at that fucking NFL stadium. There's an MLS stadium like 5 minutes closer. It's so much smarter if you make a deal to play there, because you're not going to pack that fucking stadium at what do they call it? The Link.
Never call Colby a meathead because he is suggesting that they play in a soccer stadium instead of a football stadium.
Well, I would say they should never they had an on-campus stadium that they destroyed in 1987. Why? Because they're stupid. But yeah. Anyway,
we need the Bill Cosby Stadium.
Yeah,
Let's
get that JELLO money.
The Cosby Center. Come on.
The Cosby Center.
You put the pudding in the stadium and the fans will follow. Horrible, Bill Cosby. But yeah, I thought it's one of the easiest schedules. Tim Beck, big year for you, man. You can win this.
Easy schedule, App at home. Maybe they're a player in the East if they can take care of App at home.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's jump over and talk about the next team. But before I do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience Sun Belt 2024 season preview is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 different states. P2P social betting is a new and better way to bet. Bet directly against your friends or other users of sports, politics, pop culture, and other events with verifiable outcomes. Plus, they got a ton of fun social features. They give it a feel of a betting social network, so to speak, and Cut offers lower vig and fully customizable odds. You can create your own bets, people. And Cut handles the payment side of things, so you never have to chase old Big Bird down in the streets, whoop his ass, and take your money back that he owes you. I'm not saying McCall did, but, he doesn't piss steal anymore. So hop on over there, download the Cut app today, or visit cut.com. That's KUTT.com. Use that promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Pick whether your favorite player will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. The more the more players you add on, the higher your odds go. So sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN. Or get your first deposit doubled up to $100 as well as an instant pickup special. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com today. Once again, or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register once again with the promo code TCESGPN. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100 as well as an instant pickup special. All right, we are back. And yeah, look, soccer stadium. I'm just saying, like, I argued this the other day. Who was that? With Kramer, I think. To me, like, there's a reason why Cameron Indoor is awesome. You don't need a 10,000, or a 100,000 seat stadium. All that shit is for the birds, in my opinion. Your stadium's just got to be good. It's got to be cool. It's got to be classic. It's got to have soul.
Well, it's got to be full.
Yeah.
What are the best small stadiums in college football? That's something that doesn't get highlighted enough.
I mean, I love
Don't look
a lot
past App State.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So,
Mikey Stadium.
Mikey,
yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of great ones.
But there is that recent trend in college basketball to go with a smaller stadium where
it's better,
full, loud, and also a smaller stadium also protects it a little bit from opposing teams' fans coming in.
Yes,
there,
Penn State did that on their old stadium.
Yes,
back from like the 70s.
Right. Texas Longhorns basketball went to a smaller stadium.
Baylor too.
Yeah, you get the fans right on top of you. It's loud as fuck in there because it's smaller also, and everything just echoes, So, and football
smaller is better. I've been telling myself that my whole life.
Shout out to D Bettis, who says I went to a DC Defenders game. Lemon party, beer cups, let's go. Beer snakes. It was louder. He said it was louder than a Commanders game. Who are the Commanders? Never heard of them.
You know what? It wasn't louder than a Redskins game in the late '80s at RFK.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
that's what happens though. But they sucked all the soul out of the NFL. You saw it with their stupid new fucking rules. Let's talk about that for a second.
No, let's not.
Let's do it. Let's do an hour.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to college football.
Yeah, that's my fear.
True.
Is that this is why I get super pissed because I don't even give a shit about the NFL these days. But my fear, and like I was telling Green, Stacking the Money Green was telling me, I was going off on the XFL kickoff like 2 years ago, saying like this sucks. It's bad for the sport. And he goes, why is it so bad? I go, dude, because other leagues are going to try it. I go, watch, the NFL might go to it. And he goes, they'll never go to it. welcome to what happened here. Yeah. And this XFL kickoff, complete shit. I think it's a disgrace to the game of football. And then the tackle, the hip drop tackle. Oh my God.
It's so bad.
I'm 100% done with the NFL. I can't watch it. There's a final straw. It's just like Milton in Office Space. This is when he burns down the fucking building. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm done with the NFL. I'm done with it. But I will say this: the hip drop tackle. If I don't like, there is an element of dirt to like purposefully swinging your legs into someone else's legs, but that is the game. There is no alternative to being
shit. Any chance to get him down. Just get him down any way you can.
Mostly, yes. I mean, obviously, a face mask, no. But yes. And like, I even a little bit agree with the horse collar. But the hip.
But how much more shit can we add to that?
Yeah, it's too much.
We've already ruined the pass interference fucking rules. You can fucking sneeze on someone. It's a fucking. Yeah. They made the NFL sucks. They've ruined the fucking sport, man. Anyway, let's jump to the next one because I could do a fucking seminar. I could do a seminar on how the NFL destroyed its fucking product. Next up, we got Georgia Southern. We need Clay in this chat because he likes to tell us, but what's great is I feel like he's starting to be out on Clay Helton. 2 straight years. They start off hot. They end up shitty, right? He's starting to get the gist, I think, on Clay Helton. The non-con, home to Boise State, week 1 at
How much
Nevada.
of that
week
was
2.
losing your quarterback though? Didn't they lose like a multi-year, like 10-year starter that they had for year 1, or was he back last year?
No. They went and brought in Davis Brin though last year. They went from lawn chair to lawn chair. The year before was Kyle Van Treese.
Yeah, they have
came in from Buffalo.
Right,
Yeah,
they have like running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Van Treese had been there longer. No,
he was at Buffalo the year before.
Okay.
So the non-con, home to Boise State, then at Nevada in Reno. Remember, they went out and got Jeff Choate. I think Nevada, I don't know about in week 2, but I think that it was a really good hire. Week 3, home to South Carolina State. You know I like that game on the schedule. Week 4, at Ole Miss, heading to the Grove. That's the non-con. NC Nick, your thoughts on Southern's non-con?
Pretty challenging when you throw, Ole Miss, Boise, and then a road trip at Nevada. Nevada has sucked last 2 years, but still,
it's a long trip.
Winning college football games on the road is tough, and it is a long trip with the new coach. They're probably 2-2 out of there, but I think it's still a pretty tough non-con.
Nevada also plays a week 0 game, so you're getting them on their 3rd week.
Yeah,
makes it a little trickier.
There you go.
Boise, I mean, I think they're the conference champions, and I think they probably got better. Taylor, was it Green, the quarterback?
He's gone though. Now he's at Arkansas, and they brought in Malachi Nelson, a 5-star recruit.
We're going to see what he is. Getting him on his first game, probably a good thing for Georgia Southern.
I'll say this though, man. Sun Belt and Mountain West. We saw App State at Wyoming last year. I see Boise and Nevada there. Keep this thing going. We don't need all this bullshit. You know what I mean? We don't need all this 40 team conferences. Just get Sun Belt. Sun Belt needs to add ECU though. That's not the only one. And then carry on with their day.
Yeah,
but
that's it. That's all they really need to do.
Yeah, Flamin' Libs would be cool too, but apparently that pisses everyone off. I tried to mention that before.
People in the Sun Belt do not want a private school. They do not.
It's great to have one just because you can shit on them.
I don't mind it myself, but I'm not. I'm a
Liberty fits, man. Liberty fits. Their fans talk
geographically, but you would think so if they keep with the divisions, then adding ECU to the East, you have to add somebody to the West. Who would that team be?
UTSA's got a nice fan base, but they play in that filthy dome.
Well, UTSA's in the AAC now, so they're at least at the same level, if not a little bit higher.
Yeah, AAC still has more clout just historically. So.
Well, so is ECU, I guess, too. So that doesn't make any sense. But I don't know.
We've won Peach Bowls and shit, guys. None of these Forgazi programs over here. You know what I mean?
I think ECU honestly does.
That's what ECU students call Friday night winning the Peach Bowl.
That is Friday night there in G Vegas.
Something like that.
Get it, Patty?
So this is their full schedule. Week 1.
Want me to explain it to you?
Yeah.
Wait, what is the peach? What is the joke there?
Well, what the hell is a peach?
Yeah.
Pussy. Oh,
yeah.
Eating the peach bowl.
Yeah.
Eating the peach bowl. Yeah, winning the
That's
peach bowl.
That's what he said. Winning the peach bowl. Winning the peach bowl.
I would say eating the peach bowl is the is what they do.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
So the whole schedule: Week 1, home to Boise State. Week 2, at Nevada. Week 3, home to South Carolina State. Week 4, at Ole Miss. Back-to-back away as they head to Georgia State. But remember, no one goes to those games. Week 6, bye week. Week 7, home to Marshall. Week 8, home to JMU. Week 9, at Old Dominion. Week 10, at South Alabama. Week 11, bye week. Then week 12, home to Troy. Week 13, at Coastal and Conway. And week 14, we got deeper than hate rivalry as Appalachian State comes to Statesboro. I mean,
you have this ranked too low. This is a tough schedule.
That's a tougher schedule than you're giving it credit for.
I have it 5th, 6th. So I guess I'm not too far off. But the fact that you have 2 sets of back-to-backs, the fact that you're in the East and you get Troy and South Bama from the West, who have been the 2 best teams the last couple of years.
Can I explain myself?
Okay.
They get 4 new coaches in their first 5 games. Boise, new coach. Nevada, new coach. South Carolina State, new coach. Georgia State, new coach. I think that is great to have your first 5 games, 4 brand new head coaches.
Are you counting Boise as a new head coach?
Well, he coached 3 games last year.
But it's continuity. I mean, it's the whole staff. It's I don't think they beat Boise. So, but I mean, your point's taken.
Yeah, and I'd say, like, to me, Yeah, I mean, I understand your point too, and I thought maybe make a case for a spot hire, but I just think it's nice to get all those new coaches in September and August. Anyway,
I think the back half of that schedule is just really tough as far as the teams they have.
yeah,
to
the
play.
final 4 opponents are South Alabama, home to Troy, at Coastal, home to App. That is fucking brutal.
That
Even
back end
before
is
that,
tough.
JMU and ODU right before that. ODU on the road. None of those are guaranteed wins.
Marshall's even better than Old Dominion. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a fucking ball buster schedule a little bit, at least in conference.
Yeah.
Pardon me. This pollen, man. It's pollen season. These allergies are firing up over here. At least I hit mute.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
There's chat about Ole Miss going to fuck them up. Probably. I don't trust Clay Helton in a big game ever.
What happened with the Ole Miss OC? I mean, Levy was gone the year before.
No, he was at Oklahoma the past 2 years.
I'm all fucked up. Didn't they lose someone, or has Kiffin been calling the shots there for the last couple of years?
Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank here. Sorry.
Yeah, Levy's been out of Oxford.
Levy's been there for 2 years,
3 years.
And now he's where?
Yeah. No, now he's the head coach of Mississippi State.
Okay, that's probably it. I'm Ole Miss fired. Okay, but either way, Ole Miss on the road, they're going to get destroyed there. So that's a tough game.
Yeah, Ole Miss is pretty loaded this season too. So, let's jump over and talk about Georgia State. I think this is the hardest schedule in the whole fucking conference. They spend a month on the road. What are they, the fucking Rolling Stones in 72? What is going on here?
You can't think this is the toughest schedule in the conference. Well, I guess
to me, anytime you spend a month on the road, like Arkansas that one year,
you automatically qualify.
You've qualified, and I can see why Sean Elliott quit. Sean Elliott was like, "What the fuck is this? We don't have a home game." They're at Georgia Tech week 1. Georgia Tech won 7 games last year, guys. Brent turnkey program there, and they won national championships. Shout out to Marco Coleman. Week 2, Chattanooga's a good FCS. I think Chattanooga might beat them. Week 3, home to Vanderbilt. Don't forget that Vanderbilt went out and got Jerry Kill and his offensive coordinator and Diego Pissing Pavia and the rest of New Mexico State. Vanderbilt's going to whoop their ass. Then they get a bye week. They're home to Georgia Southern. That's a loss. Then they get I hate this too. This is something that I want you to note. When you get 2 bye weeks in 3 weeks, that is never good for your schedule.
What a waste.
Never good for your
week.
schedule. Yeah. So, and then you come back out of your second bye week, just a waste of a bye week, and you're home to Old Dominion. And then you leave Atlanta for a month. and 3 of those, I think UConn could be a bowl team this year. So I think 4 of those are 4 bowl teams potentially.
4 of them probably.
Yeah.
Those are tough road trips, man.
And they're cold. By that time,
Marshall,
you got to remember,
App State, UConn,
week 14 is November 30th. So the 13th is what? 23rd. So you're talking, these are like late October into November at Marshall, at App, at UConn, at JMU. Good luck. Good luck.
That is so brutal of a stretch for
the boys in Atlanta.
G5, man.
Yeah.
And then you come home to Arkansas State, who's a bowl team. And then you're at Texas State, which I told you coming in this, I have App and Texas State as the 2 toughest. And then you're home to Coastal. Dude, this team, I actually think it's possible that they go winless.
Come on,
sure.
they're gonna beat Chattanooga probably, and they'll probably get one more against.
Don't sleep on the Mocs.
They might go 2-10 with their 2 wins against the Power 5 teams on their schedule. Georgia Tech, which is in the same city, so it's not much of a road trip.
They
there.
do get Georgia Tech flying back from Ireland.
Yeah.
But Georgia Tech's they're doing something.
They are looking good. Brent Key's doing a good job.
You would
Hudson Card
expect
coming
Georgia
back
Tech
for year 2.
But would that upset blow your mind if Georgia State beat Georgia Tech?
If Sean Elliott was still there, I could see it. But now that he left, I just feel like
I agree.
Maybe the new coach has something up his sleeve.
What's the last successful coach that comes in mid-spring practice?
Yeah,
it just dominates. That's a good question.
I don't know, but I thought this was the hardest schedule to me. Nick, it seems like you are arguing this. Yeah.
I moved it up and I have second hardest. Opponent wise, it's not the hardest. What makes it
they
so
don't
difficult,
get ULM.
Yeah, what makes it so difficult is the layout. because the layout is extremely tough. From the West, they get Arkansas State and Texas State. Both those teams went bowling last year. We think Texas State is going to be even better this year. And then that brutal stretch from mid-October to mid-November. I mean, that's just so tough. So it's very difficult, especially for a first-year head coach who hasn't even had the whole off season.
Yeah, you can't even bring your roster.
How does this work? I mean, do they make their non-conference and then does the yes, they do make their non-conference and then the people the conference schedules around them,
True.
afterwards.
So, and that's why the at UConn game in the middle of that is maybe it's their fault.
It's not their fault though. If like the conference is responsible for scheduling the conference games after they've already put in their,
they're not supposed to pay attention to that.
Yeah, they probably don't. They probably I don't know.
They probably should. I mean, every other conference pays attention to like what other conference ever puts a team on the road for a month?
Arkansas, the SEC.
Yeah, Arkansas, that's right.
The SEC did it to Arkansas.
At least one of those was a neutral conference, though. I mean, sorry, a neutral site.
But it was in Texas.
True.
Fake neutral, but
these are true road games.
Yeah.
Road, and then the conference also gives them 2 bye weeks and 3 weeks. With the home game sandwiched in between, wasted fucking buys. I will say that they are one of 3 teams in the non-conference that doesn't play a team above number 50. As far as I'm looking at the Sports Reference simple rating system for last year's teams, Georgia Tech was ranked 50. That's the best team on their schedule. Pretty much almost every other team in this conference plays
they
much
don't have
harder.
App State 50th, top 50?
No, in the non-con, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Arkansas State plays 2 P4s, and it's at Michigan and at Iowa State. Well, a lot better than Vandy at home and at Georgia Tech. So not all P4s are equal.
Right.
Fair,
so that's what I'm saying is as easy as their non-conferences, it's still one of the hardest schedules because they got fucked so hard by the Sun Belt here.
Dude, I mean, I have the numbers on the back-to-back away. I don't have numbers for the 3rd leg or the 4th leg of back-to-back away.
I don't know if I've ever seen 4 in a row away, like true away.
Campuses.
Like you mentioned, Arkansas is the one that we remember where they were at least 4 games in a row not playing at home.
Yeah, they were gone
usually
for
the
A&M
game.
So this is probably our at least our 3rd year of like really diving into every team schedule, and this is the first time I think we've seen this.
Yeah, just insane. I had it as the first. You had it as second. Good luck, State fans. All right. Let me just check. See. Okay. Look, folks, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Manscaped. This year, don't just chase rainbows with Patty C. Make sure your own pot of gold. Make sure you own your own pot of gold is what I'm trying to say, and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders and below the kilt care. Say goodbye to your pubes. All right. Shave your balls, people, with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, and let your confidence shine bright. Look, embrace the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 20% off free shipping. I gotta say, ever since I started shaving my balls with the Lawnmower 5.0, it's been fantastic. I found my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. All right. So look, this trimmer comes with 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, one for the old classic trim, and another one, a foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. Maybe you will be in, I don't know. Maybe you'll be in Conway, South Carolina. You got Myrtle Beach right there. You get a little place checking out Grayson, or not Grayson, I guess he's gone. Checking out Tim Beck's Chanticleers. What was the name of that bar you were at? Suck Bang Blow, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Suck Bang Blow. You had a late night having cocktails down there in Merle's Inlet, and you jump on over to your condo or your Airbnb. You decide I'm gonna go for a dip in the ocean at midnight. And old Rebecca's coming with you. Well, why not bring the old Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra? Because not only does it have dual LED spotlights, so if you lose your fucking house keys or something, you can navigate your way there. But also, it's waterproof. You can shave your ass in the ocean. All right, let's go. All right.
It's very freeing.
Yeah.
By the way, Matt Pardee in the chat. We need him on the advertising team.
Let me tell you, folks, get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SGPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping. The promo code SGPN at manscaped.com. A lot of people, Chris Columbus, he manscaped in the ocean.
How the hell do you find America?
That's what I'm saying. There's dual
Now
spotlight.
without the manscaper.
Go. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting and analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NBA and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets.
All I want to know is who's this mythical woman, Rebecca, who always ends up in your stories.
Oh, Rebecca. I think it's from the movie Kingpin. He's like,
Yeah.
let me tell you. He's like, let me tell you something. Like Roy Munson, Woody Harrelson's trying to, he's trying to recruit Randy Quaid. And he's telling him that like his calling is bowling. He's like, let me tell you about your calling. It's round and you can stick 4 fingers in it. Right. And he goes, you leave Rebecca out of this. Great fucking joke. Great
And I
joke.
thought it was like somebody from high school or something.
No. All my shit is movie quotes. All right. Anyway, let's get to one more before we make that transition. JMU, the Dukes. Woo. How do you feel about the hire of Bob Chesney?
You got to be satisfied with that one. You got to be excited about it, right?
I thought Sluka was going to come with him. Then I would have really been satisfied. But he goes to UNLV of all places. New York City. UNLV.
I'll take Dylan Morris though. Shit.
True. Yeah. He's got he took some practice throws at the national championship. That means something. JMU's non-con. By the way, job well done here. I'm a big fan of the non-con here because at Biff Poggi in the Clits week 1, which I think Biff Poggi is going to win that game. Then week 2, home to Gardner Webb. Now they are breaking in a brand new coach, but I like some of the moves he's done in the portal. I like the running Bulldogs as a program. Then they get a bye week, and then they're at Carolina. The wine and cheese crowd's going to have to deal with the Dukes.
I just wish it was last year.
Yeah. And then, the Patty C Bowl, week 5, JMU against Ball State. Patty C, are you single-handedly responsible for this game happening?
Do you have some pool in Harrisonburg?
Yeah.
I have to be there for that one. There's no excuse.
Your two teams. When I saw this, I said, what in the fuck? What are the odds on this?
Yeah, it's a random game.
Who you going for?
I can't wait. I'm on the Cardinals, baby. Let's go.
I can't wait to get to this game, week 5. Both your boys going head to head. So that's the non-con.
Great start to the schedule because you should beat Charlotte as much as you love Poggi.
I'm telling you,
they weren't that good last year. They were pretty bad. JMU was a way better team. So even if that's a close game,
I got JMU losing that one, buddy.
Well, you love Biff Poggi, and I think you think he's going to be the next ECU coach. So I think you're willing that into existence.
Well, I don't even think he would take the ECU job. He's like a billionaire. That's fucking.
He'd be stupid not to because it's a better job than Charlotte.
Dude, did you see what he's done in the portal? Like he's brought in big time talent in the portal. Max Brown,
it's true. He's doing all right.
It's either your baby or your dog.
What I'm saying is
anybody else make any more noise?
Hang on, I'm shutting this window. Keep talking.
Isn't it better, to just have more resources? If you can recruit and get that kind of talent to Charlotte, couldn't you just as easily get it to Greensboro or Greensville?
Yeah, but he wouldn't take that job. I'm telling you. Look, they've brought in players from Clemson, A&M, Tennessee, Florida, Iowa State, which is a stud from Iowa State, Cartavius Norton, 2 players from Iowa State, Cincinnati, your boys, Missouri, South Carolina, Michigan State, Michigan, Louisville, Georgia Tech. I mean, this is Boston College. He brought in, telling you. Watch out, Biff Poggi is building something.
He's got mojo. There's no doubt about it. But he would have even more mojo at ECU. I don't think Charlotte's, the career-ending spot, that he's looking for. He was just at Michigan, 2 years ago.
But I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, if you listen to him speak, he had like a 15-year plan to Charlotte. Like he came in with the 15-year plan of building a new stadium and shit. Like,
well, a lot of coaches have.
He had a really solid.
He's a billionaire, Pat. He doesn't even need to. It's not. You can't compare it to a normal coach.
He doesn't sound like he's a dude that has a small ego, and when he realizes that there are limitations to the Charlotte job, his ego may get the better of him.
I don't know if that has any bearing on this game here. We've already talked about this game at length.
Charlotte is winning this game. I will bet you a
Colby thinks Charlotte's going to win. Patty thinks JMU is going to win. I think it's going to be a battle, but I would side with JMU. I don't think they're going to just fall.
What happened when Duke came to Charlotte last, buddy?
Charlotte went 3-9 last year. JMU went 11-1. You
the whole team, they have 20 players gone. I just talked about this. Not even graduation in the portal.
Dude, I will bet you all the money in the world. All the money in my fucking account.
Let's go.
That JMU beat Charlotte
on
the road week 1.
You're going to lose that game.
Five shots.
And you're going to lose that $26.
And you might and you might
can't
lose.
Even afford 5 shots of that.
and you better be ready for Gardner Webb, FCS playoff team the past 2 years. Watch out, the running Bulldogs. Don't let them get hot, Nick.
I'm more scared about that game, even at home.
I think JMU could start the year 5-1.
I think JMU could start the year fucking 8-0.
4-1.
What?
8-0 is not out of the. I mean, North Carolina on the road is a tough game, but
I have them losing at UNC, and then we're going to get into it. Then they'll probably drop the game to Coastal and probably at Georgia Southern too. But I think they could start 4-1.
I disagree. I got them losing to Charlotte. I got them losing to North Carolina. I got them losing to Georgia Southern. I think they can beat Coastal and Harrisonburg.
Sure they can.
Yeah. So I got them by that bye week, by the second bye week, I got them with at least 3 losses.
Yeah, same here.
Hold on. Let's review the FCS records of the teams they're playing.
FCS? What are we talking about?
FBS.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte was 3-9. Gardner Webb, let's give them a win. They were an 11-1 football team in the FBS level last year. They're going to beat an FCS team.
What, do I need to bring up Cincinnati, your team?
Did they lose to an FCS program?
They lost to Miami, Ohio, which is pretty much an FCS program.
The conference champion of the MAC, or at least the conference championship game.
They won the championship.
Did they?
But still, I mean, Miami, Ohio. There's not a big. If Miami, Ohio plays North Dakota State tomorrow, you're probably taking North Dakota State.
Yes. But if Gardner Webb plays JMU tomorrow, I'm taking JMU, and that's what we're talking about. JMU is going to beat them. They're going to lose probably to North Carolina, but Ball State was terrible last year. ULM was terrible last year, and they get close at home.
I agree. Those 3 are wins.
Maybe 5-1.
You're going to lose to Southern like you always do, right?
Did we lose to them?
No, not last year, but in Statesboro you did.
Okay.
So my losses are Charlotte, Carolina, and Georgia Southern.
Okay, so 5-3. I say 6-2.
You get
5-3.
You get Southern Miss there, and then so that's at the second bye week, week 10, week 11, home to Georgia State. Got to like this game on the schedule. Then week 12, you got the Royal Rivalry at Old Dominion. Forgot to light that thing up, but
watch out!
Yeah.
Watch out!
And then at App, you're not winning that. Home to Marshall, who knows?
Pretty big revenge.
Again, game. I was at the JMU at App game 2 years ago when App went up 17-0. JMU stormed back and won, and there was actually a lot of purple in Boone. So I give you guys credit. The JMU fans travel. There was also a lot of purple in New York City for the college basketball games.
Hello. Still, that's a tough game this year.
Yeah, but App's winning it this year.
That's a tough back-to-back away too, because you have at Old Dominion, the Royal Rivalry, and then at App State right after that.
Remember, you guys only beat Old Dominion by 3 at home this year. You guys are going to lose at ODU this year.
Maybe I see a loss that I'm not projecting them to lose. Obviously, they'll find a loss on there. So I'm saying 8-4. I think 7-5 is the floor. I think 9-3 is very possible. Probably not much above that.
I think 7-5.
Well, you're a hater. You're a known hater.
That's a good season for year one.
I think year one, if you're 6-6 or 7-5, it's a good year. And I don't see anything better than 7-5.
I think 8-4 is what you should expect. Anyway.
Hey, we're gonna get over to cut.com and have a challenge on that Charlotte JMU game. The Clits are getting lit, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, stay put. We are going to end the audio side of this. We're not going anywhere, but remember to subscribe to the College Football Experience, the FCS College Football Experience, the College Basketball Experience, the College Baseball Experience, and we just dropped a Frozen 4 College Hockey Experience episode out there on all the feeds. Check out all that good stuff. But we're gonna go jump on over to part 2. So check out part 2 of this where we go through all of it. If you're on YouTube, stay put, as I said. But this is the College Football Experience. Subscribe, youtube.com/the College Experience, and hang tight. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience Sunbelt preview. We just argued JMU Charlotte week 1. I can't wait. I might have to fly over to Charlotte, dressed like Biff Poggi. How about the loser has to dress like Biff Poggi for a week?
Kind of already how I dress.
Oh man, that's what That's how you know he's a billionaire, because he doesn't give a fuck. He
does
not give a fuck. He's like Mark
Cutoffs
Cuban.
and inside boob.
He's like dressing like Mark Cuban. He doesn't give a fuck. Patty C's camera just went out. YouTube.com.
I think it may be once the program starts, because we just switched it up and now I'm cut off again. So I'm going to jump off. I'll be back.
Yeah. NC Nick, though, that's what I had it as I think it's a favorable schedule, though. You see, I had it ranked 12th. Where'd you have it ranked?
I had it 11th. So overall, I think JMU with the first year head coach, I think it's a schedule you want. And that'll allow them to get to 7-5, or as Patty C says, maybe even better.
And I also think getting Carolina this year is a blessing in a way, because Carolina's not going to be nearly as good from a roster standpoint as there was a year ago.
I just wish last year I really think JMU could have went in there and won.
Yeah, they're such a physical team.
Yeah, this year I don't know.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's hop on over and talk about the Raging Cajuns. Mike Desimero hitting dingers with the Orioles. No, he's down there in Lafayette, Louisiana. And to me, he is on the hot seat the most. It's time to put up or shut up. Now, luckily, this is the 11th rated schedule in the Sun Belt. I do think this could be a big breakthrough year for him.
I had it 12, so we just had this and JMU flip. So yeah, easy schedule.
We got the non-con. I love Louisiana. I want to say that. Like, I enjoy their fans. I think they're passionate.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the right guy for the job, and I know he's a grad, so they didn't fire him last year. They gave him that third year, which I can look. This is a guy that's been with. He played there. He coached as an assistant for a long time. I can dig that.
Right.
However, I think this program, as we alluded to, they've recruited the Sun Belt the best over the past 5 years. And to me, they should be a lot better. We saw it with Billy Napier. Can they bring Billy Napier back? Because he might be fired after week 5. Week 1, they are home to Grambling. Love the regionality of this fucking game. Week 2, they're at Kennesaw. This is the first home game for Kennesaw State in the FBS. So that's a nice draw for Louisiana with those first 2 games. They get a bye week, and then they're hosting Tulane. I love this game. This game, awesome game. Then they're at Wake Forest, taking on Dave Clawson, Hank Bachmeyer and company. They have a back-to-back away, then at Southern Miss, then home to Appalachian State.
They play 5 black and gold teams in their first 6 games.
That is true. Interesting to note. Well, actually, okay, hang on. So what do you make of the non-con? Grambling, Kennesaw State, Tulane, Wake. Dude, it's not that they won't go 4-0 because they're not that good, but you could definitely say it wouldn't shock me if they went 4-0.
They're not going 4-0.
They're going to go 2-2.
They're going to go Tulane and Wake.
Yeah, but it's still we act like Wake was great last year.
Watch out for Kennesaw.
That's true too.
But still, I say 2-2 probably.
2-2.
And before we get off this, and before I forget, we mentioned this I think late last year that the recruiting, while Louisiana was crushing it, this year 12th in the conference. So not only it seems like the whole momentum of that program is going downhill.
Yeah, they should fire him last year.
Yeah. Was Desormeaux the I guess the catalyst for the recruiting, success prior?
No,
'Cause he's only
Napier.
I think it's
Napier, yeah.
Napier. I mean, Dace Monroe was the offensive coordinator under Napier.
He maintained it for the first year, right?
Yeah,
but those offenses were never that good. It was the defensive team.
As
But I
far as
just mean the
recruiting, his first 2 years were good. They were like top 5 in the Sun Belt. I think the first year might have been 1, and the second year like 4th. But it's dropped off now. So now not only are you not producing on the field, but also your recruiting classes are dropping. Also, it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Look,
That Cajun name ain't gonna save you. Even
I
with
have
the
this
Cajun.
as the 11th ranked schedule. If they lose to Tulane and Wake, I think he's going to get fired because we talked about the non-con: Grambling, Kennesaw, Tulane, Wake. If they're 2-2 there, week 6 they're at Southern Miss. I favor Southern Miss in that matchup. Week 7 home to App. I favor App in that matchup. Week 8 at Coastal. I favor Coastal in that matchup. Then they get a bye week, and then they're at Texas State, which I favor Texas State. So that would be what, 6 straight losses? You'd be 2-6. They might pull the plug on them then. And you still got Arkansas State, who made a bowl last year, then South Alabama, then Troy, and then at ULM in the Battle of the Bayou. He's going to get fired this year.
Yeah. Yes.
He's got to beat Southern Miss. That Southern Miss game is huge, week 6.
Yeah, I mean, getting App and Coastal from the East is not good. But I think overall we thought the schedule was easy, just because the non-con was pretty easy. So I mean, there's enough winnable games on this to go another 6-6, 7-5 year. Maybe that provides him with the 4th year, but there's definitely a scenario where the train goes off the tracks and he's fired midseason.
Yeah, and
Kennesaw
like to me,
was only 3-6 at the FCS level last year, so that probably.
I think they sat a bunch of their players too, though. So you got to kind of look back 2 years.
And didn't they lose their offensive coordinator to Army, who had been having him?
That is true.
Rocking.
But they did, I think, sit out players knowing they were going to jump.
Kind of like how Sam Houston did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of just think, best case scenario here, paint me a bowl season. You beat Grambling, you beat Kennesaw, you beat Southern Miss. That's 3. You get Arkansas State, South Alabama, and ULM. That's 6-7 wins, maybe at the ceiling.
You can do that because, like, we don't know what South Alabama is going to look like. We don't know what Troy is going to look like. I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yes, he could save his job. What are the expectations in Louisiana? Are they at the level that
they were winning Sun Belt championships?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, but
it's a make or break year for him. He's got to win more than 6.
Who's the Florida coach?
Desmond Moreau. Oh, Napier.
No. Napier. Are there expectations that he replicates Napier's success? I mean, they had never done that before.
Once you get a taste of that, you don't want to go back. I mean, yeah,
that's true.
Especially in this day and age. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's gonna be fired at the end of the year. Even though I gave him the 11th best schedule,
what keeps his job?
He's got to get at least 7-5, I think, regular season.
Yeah, probably 6-6 out the door.
Nick,
probably right. I mean, so hold on. So what's his records been so far? I feel like he's been like 6-6 every year.
Yeah, I feel like you're right.
Last year,
I think go bowling and maybe it's his job saved for the 4th year.
What's his record right now? Do you have that in front of you?
I'm pulling it up here.
So typing this correctly.
Last year they went to a bowl game. They went 6-6, lost the bowl game. Year before that, same exact thing. 6-6, lost the bowl game.
So he's 6-14 or 12-14.
Yeah. So this is his 3rd year. So I mean, hey, he's been bowling every year.
I think they probably want the bowl win. I think 7-6, maybe.
Not only that, they don't look good. Like they look kind of shitty to me. Like I think he'll get fired. Actually, I think he needs to win 7 in the regular season to survive. I
agree with you. I think.
I mean, he's been right there in the bowl games. He lost to Houston by touchdown, and he lost in overtime to Jacksonville State last year.
Still, they were winning 10-11
Close
games.
Only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, buddy.
All right, folks. I want to tell you that the college football experience, You're listening to the College Football Experience, and we are a part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. SGPN is home to 20 plus gambling podcasts, all completely free. In honor of March Madness, this week's featured shows are the Sports Gambling Podcast, the flagship SGPN show hosted by Ryan Real Money Kramer and Sean Stack in the Money Green, where the guys have picked every NCAA tournament game against the spread since 2012. And of course, the College Basketball Experience, hosted by myself, Moneyline Mac, and Noah Beanick, continue their unmatched coverage of college basketball betting. So hop on over there and check them out. Subscribe today to the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Basketball Experience, wherever you get your podcast. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 different states. P2P social betting is a new and better way to bet. Bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events with verifiable outcomes. Plus, they got a ton of fun social features that give it a feel of a betting social network, so to speak. Cut also offers lower VIG and fully customizable odds. Me and Patty C were just talking about Charlotte JMU week 1. I think we're going to place a little wager there. Create your own bets. That's what you could do over at Cut. And Cut handles the payment side of things, so I never got to chase down Patty C in the streets. All right. Just get on over there. Check out Cut. Download Cut today. That's KUTT.com. Use that promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Pick whether your favorite player will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build your pick'em entry. The more players you add, the higher the odds go. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pickup special. They got college hoops. They got everything. And college football, when that comes back around, they're going to have that too. Visit underdogfantasy.com. Find them in the App Store. Don't forget to register with the promo code TCESGPN. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. All right, we are back talking Sunbelt. What's up?
Cut's motto should be use cut so you don't get cut.
I like that. I like that.
Or you don't get your knees bashed in. Whatever it is.
I would also say Manscaped. Don't cut your balls. Use the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, smooth as a fucking sailor. All right.
There you go. A little cross promo there.
Yeah, the Raging Cajuns. I think they got their work cut out for them a little bit there. Let's talk about the Herd. Marshall Thunder and the Herd. You know, as a kid, me and NC Nick, long before there was God's Eye and ESPN Plus, and you had regional coverage of college football, and we're stuck watching Clemson against Maryland, some shit like that. UVA, Maryland, you know, and Jefferson Pilot Sports would be playing a Wake Forest game with fucking Mike Elkins, right? You were stuck, or Rusty LaRue or something. You were just stuck with limited options. But we had this old black and white television. You go up to like the in the 50s somewhere, turn to the knob, no controller. You would always get Marshall games back when they had Eric Kresser, Troy Brown. So I've always liked Marshall.
Same here.
Yeah, they've always just been they're a team I like to root for ever since those days. Marshall, glad to see they've come up. Glad to see they've been successful. Remember 2 years ago they won at Notre Dame. Maybe they can do it again because they have 2 big time Power 5 programs on the schedule this year, or somewhat. One used to be big time. The non-con, home to Stony Brook,
strange game.
Yeah, taking on the Seawolves. Always impressive there. As well, you know, George W. has something to say about that. Well,
Dan Marino and his really dynamic wife.
Wait, that's not the clip. But I guess that works.
Funny nonetheless.
Yes.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Yes. The second game they have returned. Remember, they beat Virginia Tech a year ago. Now they head to Blacksburg to take on Brent Pry and company. Then they get a bye week, and then they head to the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. Wow. Impressive. And then they got remember they were in the MAC for a little bit back in the day. The Broncos of Western Michigan coming into Huntington, West Virginia to take on Marshall. Throwback to the short time that Marshall was in the MAC.
Where are they better, in the MAC or the Sun Belt?
Sun Belt by far.
Yeah.
I think it's
my problem is that out of conference schedule, like the only game that makes sense is at Virginia Tech. They need to take a page out of App State's book.
Yeah.
And, like do something regionality.
Well,
like
West Virginia, they're little bastards that don't like scheduling them.
True.
Right. I would love it if it was Virginia Tech, West Virginia as the Power Fives.
Sure.
And then in the not ECU, they have a rivalry with ECU historically.
But they can dip into like Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, Western Kentucky. Get Western Kentucky on there.
There's no reason why Stony Brook and Western Michigan are coming to Huntington. It doesn't make any sense.
Flaming Libs, put the Flaming Libs on there.
Not like either of those schools are super far away. They're somewhat regional. I mean, there's a state in between West Virginia and New York, which is Pennsylvania, and then there's a state between West Virginia and Michigan.
Stony Brook.
Ohio.
There's no.
Dude,
Stony Brook game sucks.
Where's Stony Brook at? Is that like Long Island or something?
I don't even know.
Where's Stony Brook? So I think
it's in the Bronx. What is
even
it?
if there's only a state in between, there is light years in culture between Stony Brook and Marshall.
Well, ain't that some of the fun of it?
No.
Eastern
I
Kentucky.
want regionality.
Eastern Kentucky would be perfect. Yes. Even Patty C, wouldn't you like to see the Flamin' Libs take on Marshall or?
Sure, but are you gonna? I mean, that's essentially an FBS quality program. They play in the damn Fiesta Bowl. They already have Virginia Tech and Ohio State on the schedule.
Well, I don't want Ohio State on there, but I'm saying, yeah, okay.
That's
how about Richmond?
Battle.
That's better than freaking Long Island or Stony Brook, and then Western Michigan. Western Michigan makes no sense either. We tell me they're only one state apart either because Ohio's in the middle. Still.
Look, Farmageddon's got a state in between it, and we love that one. Sometimes you have to play a team.
Yeah, but this identity to me, I'm with Nick on this one because I think if Western Kentucky is on there, that's more appealing to me than Western Michigan.
Sure.
If Stony Brook's replaced with Richmond, replaced with I don't know, a few other schools, to me even Youngstown State or something, I'm more intrigued by it.
Well, there are definitely some better games that could have been.
Or like Western Carolina. Shout out to Weehawk.
Yeah, Long Island is where Stony Brook is. I mean, what do you think they go in that non-con? Any chance they knock off the Hokies? I mean, they beat the Hokies a year ago. They won at Notre Dame the year before.
Probably not. I think it's 2-2.
They have had great running. Well, who is it? Kamani Vidal or
Sassoon? No, he was back. You're thinking of Rasheen Ali.
Rasheen Ali.
Yeah.
And then they have.
He's gone, by the way. He's gone.
Transfer. Yeah, so I guess the running game is probably not what it was for Marshall. I don't know though. They managed to upset Virginia Tech last year. They could do it again, but Virginia Tech was a far different team in the second half of the season than they were.
And that was in Huntington last year.
Yeah,
that makes a huge fucking difference.
They're probably going to lose that game.
2-2. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Virginia Tech's got a history of getting beat.
I don't think so. I think this Virginia Tech team's better.
I do. I would favor Virginia Tech, but it wouldn't shock me.
Is coming back.
They didn't look like they were a great team last year. I'll say 2-2 as well. Now, I mean, they played a Tulane team with nobody. That means nothing. That game means nothing.
They destroyed Virginia too.
They suck.
I hate to be a broken record, but I think this is the point in the show where I say that we have to move it along because we're only halfway through.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I had it as the 6th hardest schedule. They have road trips at JMU, at ODU, at Southern Miss, at Georgia Southern. That's tough. They do get ULM on the schedule in conference wise. They don't get Georgia State though. What do you think?
They play Georgia State because they're in the same division.
No, they don't. They got rid of that this year, right? No. That's next year. They're doing that. Okay. Yeah. So they get the 2 easiest teams, we think. What'd you have this rank, Nick?
Yeah, I had it at 5th. So I think I see at Virginia Tech and at Ohio State, and automatically I think, geez, that's tough. I mean, those are 2 very tough places to play. But you know what? In conference is not too bad. You only got one set of back-to-back aways, which ends the year in Virginia at ODU at James Madison. But overall, in conference, it's manageable. It really is.
Agreed. I had it at 6th, but yeah,
I think I might have ranked it too high just based on those Virginia Tech and Ohio State games.
I would agree.
Could App State pull an upset? I mean, you got to say. Who are the favorites in the Sun Belt East? You would figure App State.
Yeah.
Maybe Coastal, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, JMU certainly, but App State and Coastal both at home. You know, App State on the second end of a home and home, or not
Marshall
home and
could
home.
knock off App State, sure.
Yeah.
App
they
State in
did
the
it
last
2 years
3
ago,
years.
right?
Yeah, I mean, in the last 3 years, App State has not been the
App State's got
dominant,
Liberty before that, so maybe they're either on a come down, or I don't know if Liberty gives a body blow, but either way, that could be a good spot for Marshall to catch them. If they do, then Marshall could be, in play at least at that point in the season. That would be their first conference game for the Sun Belt East.
It's possible. It's possible. I wouldn't pick them to win the Sun Belt East, but there's a path.
Yeah, I mean they're a good enough program where it wouldn't shock me. Let's get on over and talk about these Monarchs. Old Dominion. They're non-con. I had it ranked 7th. And where'd you have this ranked, Nick?
ODU 7th also, actually.
All right, we're seeing eye to eye here. The non-con at South Carolina, home to East Carolina, home to Virginia Tech, a bye week, and then at Bowling Green to take on Patty C's boy Leffler.
That's harder than
no FCS.
That's harder.
Pretty
than
hard.
It's probably giving credit for. South Carolina,
it's
ECU,
like
and
JMU's
Virginia.
schedule where it's it's like regional, and then all of a sudden there's a random MAC team thrown in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll go 1 and 3.
No, there's not a Sun Belt MAC challenge going on, is there? Because I feel like there's a lot of those games.
Dude, they could knock off ECU and go 2 and 2. Get the hell out of here with your 1 and 3.
I mean, ECU, that's the one team ECU beat the tar out of last year, right?
That was early in the year, though, before they really started to come on, right?
True. But
wait, are you
they're always
projecting
afraid
them
of
to
us.
beat ECU, Nick?
No. Oh, Nick is. But
I think
I'm
they
not.
could for sure. Also, last time Virginia Tech came to town, they beat the Hokies.
That is true. And they, Virginia Tech got stuck on an elevator too.
Haven't they beaten the Hokies at home twice in like the last 5
I
or
think
6
so.
years?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Foreman Field, is that what they're still calling it?
No,
Hokey
SB
hell.
Ballard. SB Ballard Stadium.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But I got them 1 and 3. What do you, Nick? You're saying 2 and 2?
Yeah, why not? I'm a Sun Belt guy.
Patty C, what are you doing here?
That's tough. I'm going to say 1 and 3.
Then conference play starts with back-to-back aways. They're at Coastal and at Georgia State. At least
It
Georgia
should
State
be mentioned, Colby, that before that is at Bowling Green, so they have three games in a row on the road.
That is brutal. But at least Georgia State has no one there. Then they're home to Texas State and Georgia Southern. This is tough. It's a tough schedule. Then at Appalachian State, then a bye week, and then home to JMU in the Royal Rivalry. Then home to Marshall, and then at Arkansas State in the finale. It's a tough schedule, man.
Like 2 years ago, getting Texas State and Arkansas State from the West, you would have been saying awesome.
Yeah.
But both were bowling last year.
Tough schedule. What do you make of this one, Patty C?
Let me just give you credit for calling it the Royal Rivalry there. I don't think that
It's got the
deserves
logo.
to catch on.
See the logo? Yeah. It's
Either
all
way,
there.
I mean, it's kind of, ODU, the Monarchs. Okay, I get that. I guess the Duke. I feel like our school was misnamed. James Madison was part of developing the democracy of America, and a Duke is a royal figure. That doesn't make sense. I know that our mascot was named after the old president's dog, Duke. So either way, poor choice of name. Shouldn't be
What the
called
hell are you
the Royal
talking
Rivalry.
about, Patty?
Yeah.
Steve?
Either way, you guys are all tied up all the time. So it's not like you guys have been owning this one. It's a good rivalry because you guys are all tied up.
No, it's a good rivalry. I respect ODU. I think. If we're talking about the middle 6-game stretch there, I expect them to lose at least 3 to 4 of those, and they might go 2-1 in the last part. I think they're going to have a decent year, but it's not an impossible schedule. I think it's manageable. I mean, the non-con is way harder than the conference schedule. I think the conference schedule is forgiving a little bit.
I don't know.
I think both are tough.
Georgia State not that good,
But you get Georgia State on the third leg of a back-to-back away.
Back to back to back.
Yeah, back-to-back. Yeah,
That's true.
that's a bad place to have that Georgia State game. You don't have ULM.
Every
on the
other
schedule.
game is like you might. How many games are they favored in?
Who did we say was the basement of this conference? Again?
ULM and Georgia State.
And Southern Miss.
I don't think Southern Miss is.
Just the two, ULM and Georgia
They don't
State.
even get Southern Miss.
Well, they get Georgia State at least. They don't get ULM. They
but
don't
they get Georgia
Southern
State
Miss.
in the worst possible place, the third leg of a back away. That's why I almost feel like
Troy. There's no Apps. No, there is App State. There's no South Alabama.
What games are they favored in?
Yeah,
I don't know that they're favored in any because it's at Georgia State and at Bowling Green.
Well, they probably wouldn't be
give me the
favored.
surefire wins.
There aren't a ton of surefire wins, but I would say a team like ODU in a conference that we said has a huge middle, and they're probably on the bottom side of that. They're playing against mostly teams that are close by them that they could win. So that helps a team like Old Dominion. You don't want to be playing teams that are way better than. Yes, you'd like to have some teams games against shitty ass teams. They don't have many of those, but at least they're not playing mostly hard teams. They're playing mostly medium teams.
Hey, last year they beat App State. Last year they beat both the Georgia schools. They beat Southern Miss. They beat Louisiana. So I mean,
they're not going to go 0-12. I'm just saying. I think they'll be. I don't know that they'll be favored in any of those games.
I mean, if
Ronnie's
they're
got
favored,
some
it's
tricks
by
up
3
his
or
sleeve.
4.
Yeah, they're too good not to. But anyway, let's move along. Yeah, we all locked up the under last year. We Hawks bringing it to our attention again that we lost money on Ricky Ronnie said, "Fuck you." Let's talk about these South Alabama Jaguars. Major Applewhite's the man with the master plan here. The non-con is home to North Texas, at Ohio, home to Northwestern State. They're breaking in a brand new head coach, and then at LSU week 5.
They also have a stretch of 3 straight road games.
Yeah, what are these guys doing?
That's tough. I think Ohio is due for a nice little rebound here, potentially. Rourke's gone, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, they keep a decent program.
Yeah,
they're pretty good in Athens. I have Ohio winning that, so I think South Bama is probably 2-2. They can probably beat North Texas.
Yeah,
I would agree. Yeah. So, I mean, the Arkansas State game, they're going to lose because the games before that they're at, chronologically home to North Texas, at Ohio, home to Northwestern State, at Appalachian State, followed by at LSU. Woo! Then at Arkansas State. Arkansas State's got the best spot there to catch them.
Seriously.
And then they get a bye week, and then they're home to Troy in the battle for the belt. Then home to ULM, then home to Georgia Southern. Nice little stretch there. If they can take
3 road games and then a bye, and then 3 home games.
Home games, then a bye.
Fucking idiots doing the schedule.
Spread it out a little bit.
Then a back-to-back away at Louisiana and at Southern Miss before Texas State comes to town in the finale.
It's tough, man.
It is tough. Major Applewhite, he did not impress as a head coach at Houston. We'll see what he can do here, but I am a skeptic that they will be sniffing the Sun Belt Championship. Maybe my thing is like, okay, North Texas, Northwestern State, 2 wins there. ULM 3, probably Georgia Southern 4 because Southern normally fades out by the end of the year. And I think they're gonna be like 6-6 best case scenario.
I think you're probably right. I mean, they were 6-6 last year.
Yeah.
No, Kane Womack went to what? Alabama.
Yeah.
How many of his assistants did Major Applewhite retain?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Because
yeah.
There my camera's dead. If there's a lot of continuity there, then maybe this is a smoother transition than we're anticipating, and they're going to be a good team again. But I don't know. That's a big if.
I had this as the second hardest schedule. NC Nick, where'd you have it?
I had it 10th.
Wow.
But now that I'm looking at it, I don't know what I was looking at when I ranked it 10th, because I think it's tougher than some of those above it. So I think I don't know if it's the second hardest, but I don't think it's 10th either. I think it's somewhere in between there.
Yeah. I think Major Applewhite, like I said, it's, to me, if you can just get to a bowl this year, build for next year.
Yeah.
You should be happy if you're a fan of the Jags.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's move over to Southern Miss. That Brett Favre blood money. When's it going to start paying off for Will Hall? It's a critical year for Will Hall. If he doesn't win, I do think he'll be fired as well. you gotta like their opportunities in the non-con. At Kentucky, Kentucky's replacing a lot in week 1. I think the past 2 times they've played Kentucky, I think they won one in Lexington and then they lost a very close one in Lexington. Maybe they can give Kentucky a game. Week 2, they do get Sela, who's a decent FCS. Then home to Patty C's boys with Alex Galesh and South Florida, and then at Jacksonville State taking on Rich Rod. I love this non-con actually. I love this non-con. I think they did a good job in the non-con.
That and they could still be 1-3.
Oh no, I'm saying just the matchups.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're not doing their defensive coordinator any favors with those, game number
Offenses,
3 and 4,
right?
South Florida and Jacksonville State.
Sela fires the shit out of the ball too. Yeah, I mean, they're probably gonna be 1-3. If we had to set the what would they be favored in?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're probably right.
Well, what has Southeastern Louisiana been?
No, they're a solid FCS. They're a solid FCS, but they're gonna lose. They'll still beat Sela.
Yeah.
Because Hattiesburg will get lit. The Rock. Welcome to the Rock. After that, they get a bye week after their non-con. Then week 6, home to Louisiana. Then at ULM. Then home to Arkansas State. At JMU. Then they get a bye and they're home to Marshall. Then at Texas State. Then home to South Alabama. Then at Troy.
This is a phenomenally well structured schedule.
Yeah, 4 games bye, 4 games bye, 4 games. Boom.
And the home games against the 6 and 7 bowl teams in Louisiana and Arkansas State. You go to ULM on the road, but that's winnable. And then the road trips to JMU and Troy and Texas State. Those are the ones you're going to lose probably anyway. And then
no back-to-back aways.
Yeah.
I had it as the 10th rated schedule. I think it's got some breaks for them.
I agree. I had 9th, but I agree.
Whoever is responsible for putting the schedule together at Southern Miss, kudos. Whether that's the athletic director, whatever, it's a nicely put together schedule.
And I still say Sunbelt West is up for grabs. Texas State might be the leader in the clubhouse, but not by that much. So, hey, why not Southern Miss?
They need to get back going, man. They need to get back going. I love this program. They need to get back going.
Great program.
All right, let's get to formerly the Southwest Texas Bobcats, as you see there with their retro logo. They are now the Texas State Bobcats, who I have as the easiest schedule in the Sun Belt. Patty, see, this was part of my handicap, and this is why I will be taking a future when they're released
for sure
on Texas State to win the Sun Belt. I think this schedule is incredible. I think they did a great job. No back-to-back away, and the fact that everyone plays they don't really hit the road until week 6. So.
No road games out of conference for a Sun Belt team. That's crazy.
Yes. I mean, they have the neutral Sam Houston
rarity,
game, but yeah. The non-con is week 1 home to Lamar, then week 2 home to UTSA in the battle of the I-35
Lamar's
showdown.
Where
there.
Texas or
Texas.
Okay.
Then week 3, they got Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State coming to San Marcos. Then they get a bye week before that neutral site Sam Houston State game. I mean, this is a great schedule. I think there is a high chance that they're 4-0 in the non-con.
Bold.
They might drop one of those. I mean,
of course. I mean, but to me, UTSA is due for a year of regression.
They might drop 2 of them.
Kenny Dillingham's got to have Arizona State improved in year 2, right?
Of course, but you got to go into San Marcos. That place was lit last year. DJ Kenny was getting that shit going, man.
I'll go conservative and say 3-1.
That's not that conservative. I think 2-2 is what you should expect. Talking about UTSA, who's been awesome. No,
they beat Baylor. Texas State beat Baylor at Baylor last year.
Texas State, good. It's good. Yeah, 3-1 is not out of the realm of possibilities. But if you're talking about comparing 2 programs over the past few years, I give UTSA the nod. Granted, that's in San Marcos.
Their best players are gone. I'll take Texas State to win that one.
I think if they can take care of business against Lamar and Sam Houston, then I think they win one of the 2 home games against UTSA and Arizona State. But beating Sam Houston, maybe that's not a guarantee either.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They got better. they couldn't score for the first half of the season. Then they finally figured it out a little bit. They're gonna be a better team year.
Weehawks got a good question. More likely 4-0 or 2-2. I say 4-0.
That's a good question. I don't know. I might go 2-2 there.
I just don't think UTSA is going to be that good this year. And then I guess you could sell me a little bit on the Sam Houston angle, but I don't know about Arizona State. Arizona State, I don't trust them playing any group of 5 on the road.
I think Colby just finds DJ Kinney handsome.
Well, that's a good reason to root for the guy. I mean,
dude, but I mean, they go out, they killed it in the portal again. They're putting money behind this program. I just think I think 4-0 would be more likely than 2-2.
You might not be wrong. I'm looking
at 3-1, but it's kind of beside the point if we're talking about a future to win the Sun Belt.
It is. So starting conference play is week 6. They're at Troy. I like them getting Troy in the front half of the season because Troy's breaking in a brand new head coach. Then they're home to Arkansas State, then at Old Dominion, then they get a bye week, home to Louisiana, at ULM, home to Southern Miss, home to Georgia State, at South Alabama. They are winning the Sun Belt next year.
Yeah. They're winning the Sun Belt West.
Yes.
Next year.
But you get that much shit behind you, that much steam behind you. I feel like watch out. Watch out.
What's the quarterback situation again?
They got the JMU quarterback, Jordan McLeod.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, they are. They are winning the Sun Belt West. DJ Kinney's going to be a hot name in the coaching fucking circles.
That's what I'm saying. They built for this year, I feel like.
Getting ODU and Georgia State from the East is, I mean, that's cake. That's probably what you want.
Yeah. And look, I only think this team is going to be better. Like, if you think they're going to regress, I would argue that this team's going to be better this year. They have better quarterback play this year. And to me, some of the other guys they went out and landed in the portal, I thought they did a great job. They got the Deion the Tank Hankins from UTEP, Nick, in the portal.
His 5th year, I think.
Yeah, they did a good job in the portal, in my opinion, bringing in some talent around.
Honestly,
this.
11-1 is not out of the question.
That's what I'm saying. There's a reason why I had this ranked like this, man. I know you came into this episode and I said, dude, wait till you see Texas State's. Because I think they're I don't see a path where they're not in the Sun Belt championship.
It's easy to, assume that everything is going to go, hunky dory just because they had a good year last year and the schedule's easy this year. But maybe there are a lot of factors. This team was 3-9 2 years ago.
I'm not calling them a lock. There's no way they're not in the. I mean, come on, they're not at that level where you definitely just pencil them in.
I'm just saying.
I think they're the favorite in the Sun Belt West, but they could definitely lose at Troy, at South Alabama, and at ODU, and that's 3 conference losses right there.
Yeah,
true.
Well, let me ask you this.
I think they won't go. They'll win one of those.
Probably.
Jordan McLeod, legit Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, legit Sun Belt Player of the Year, or was that just a product of playing on an amazing team?
Dude, I actually think Kenny will make him even better because Kenny's got a track record of doing really well with quarterbacks.
He did have a very good offensive line and good receivers last year too.
He did have a great offensive line. I will say
good
that.
Receivers.
But Texas State has good receivers, so it's like I'm not.
No, McLeod's legit.
Yeah,
I think.
But I mean, dude, GJ Kenny, look, this guy. Considering how bad Texas State was the year before, he comes in and goes 8-5. It wins their first ever bowl game, I think. Then the year before, in his first year, was 12-2 in the FCS ranks with Incarnate Word. I'm sold.
It seems like the fan base too, which makes every home game that much more difficult for the road team to come into San Marcos and win. So there's a lot to be excited for.
Yeah. All right, let's hop to Nick. You had it 14th, right?
I did, definitely.
Yeah. The Troy Trojans, they are breaking in Gerard Parker, former Notre Dame offensive coordinator.
I feel like that's an actor. Is there an actor like Gerard
Butler?
Butler.
Enough. Parker Lewis. Troy, I was intrigued by that hire. That was not what I was expecting them to do. But the non-con, home to Nevada, getting Jeff Choate in game 1, then at Memphis and at Iowa, and then taking on Florida A&M, who was good. Obviously, Willie Simmons is now on Duke's staff, but Florida A&M's been a good FCS over the past few years. They're going to lose at Memphis and at Iowa, right?
Probably.
So 2-2 is probably what we're looking at in the non-con.
Yeah.
Just to review, Gerard Parker was Notre Dame's
OC for like 1 year.
Yeah, and it had previously been the tight end coach. Did a pretty good job, I guess, last year. Obviously, Notre Dame was pretty good, but yeah, that's surprising. That's a big jump in 2 years.
Yeah,
tight end coach to head coach.
that was an interesting hire. I did not see that one coming, to tell you the truth. I was a little surprised.
Maybe the guy's like magnetic or something.
Yeah, that's what they say about me.
Your personality is, right?
Yeah. In conference, home to ULM week 5, home to Texas State week 6, then a bye week, then battle for the belt as they head to Mobile to take on South Alabama week 8, and then week 9. So they got a little back-to-back away here as they go to Jonesboro, Arkansas to take on Butch Jones and Arkansas State. Then they're home to Coastal Carolina, then a bye week, then at Georgia Southern, followed by another back-to-back away, 3 sets of back-to-back away games as they head to Lafayette to take on Desmond. The only good thing is Desmond might be canned by then. And then they're home to Southern Miss in the finale. Your thoughts? I had it ranked 8th. Would you?
I had it, 8th actually. Yes, same thing. I think it's kind of middle of the road. It all depends on what Troy's going to be. You know, if this was Troy of the last 2 years, I think they can manage his schedule just fine. I think we're all expecting them to take a step back, and therefore it'll be challenging.
Yeah.
No App, no JMU. Some of the tougher teams across division aren't on the
Coastal
schedule.
and Georgia Southern from the East. You know, it's not the best. It's not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's a generally pretty good conference slate. I think having a road trips back to back at Memphis and at Iowa is tough in the non-con. Overall, middle of the pack challenging.
I think they're like a 6-6 team, man.
I think so.
You think Troy is?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I think they're a little better than that.
What are their wins, buddy? Nevada, Florida A&M, ULM, right?
Yeah. I bet they get one of either South Alabama and Arkansas State. They might get Coastal Carolina at home. They'll get at least one of Georgia Southern and Louisiana, and then they'll get Southern Miss at home. I think they're like 7-5.
I can see 7-5, but I'd be hard pressed to go over 7-5.
I don't know if I'd be hard pressed.
I think. I don't know.
What had John Sumrall done prior to taking over at Troy? Was he some like all-star coach?
He was the DC at Kentucky. It was highly sought after.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good track record. But either way, I think Troy. I mean, how much of that do you attribute to Troy's program? Are they doing anything special, or is that 100% what Sumrall had done with them?
He turned that defense into a very good defense.
They were shit before him. Right. I mean, it wouldn't shock me they're 7-5. I just think when I look at the schedule, it screams 6-6 to me. But
didn't they play in the Sun Belt Championship each of the last 2 years?
They've been very good last 2 years. Yeah.
It's just a big drop off, even with the new coach.
Shout out to Cody Frazier. Met Cody in Vegas. Hell of a nice guy. Definitely going to follow small conference football because of Dundee this year. Time to make some cash. Let's go. We love. I mean, we got the FCS college football experience too. I consider this major conference, the Sun Belt. Let's go, folks. Before I know we got a couple more teams to get to, but
just one.
Yeah, I want to tell you folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0. Let your confidence shine bright. Embrace the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 20% off plus free shipping. Once again, they come with dual LED spotlights. That thing's great. 2 blades, one for the classic trim, another one they got a foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. And this shit is waterproof. So you could do this. You could be in the Gulf of Mexico shaving your ass. Everything's going to work out fine. All right. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SGPN at Manscaped. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SGPN at manscaped.com. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NBA and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. And by the way, you see up next on TCE, Moneyline Mac will be over there on the college basketball experience, breaking down the coaching carousel and transfer portal news. So stick around, check that out.
Solo, no Dundee.
No, I'm on the SGP show, so we're diversifying.
Man.
All right.
All right.
And yes, I look. Cody's just killing it over here with the great comments there. Appreciate you, Cody. Let's hop on over and talk about the school that everyone loves, ULM, the Indians here. Look, I don't know why you fired Terry Bowden. The Bryant Vincent hire, I guess, but I kind of thought you should have gave Terry Bowden another year. I don't think Bryant Vincent's a bad coach, but the non-con, home to Jackson State, home to UAB. Oh, Vincent gets revenge on his former team. They went with Dilfer over you. You know I like it. Week 2.
I like it.
They get a bye week, and then they're at Texas week 4, and then the other non-con game is week 12 at Auburn. Shout out to the SEC. There's only one school that 2 SEC teams are playing in the Sun Belt. That is ULM. This is what I talk about. They target the shittiest schools.
Right.
You know, it's
They're
like
not playing
UMass.
App State twice.
Yeah. Hilarious. But the non-con has its challenges. I kind of think they're going to be 1-3, and watch out. Jackson State, probably the amount of transfers coming in. I think that could be a game.
Could be 0-4.
Yeah.
I mean, ULM, not a good football team last year.
I think they're going to be 1-3, but I mean, who knows what Trent Dilfer's doing at fucking at UAB. I don't know what to make of that game, but I would favor UAB still. Nick, what do you think of the
non-con or the whole slate?
Well, I mean, the whole slate of things is incredibly hard because you have at Texas and at Auburn sprinkled in with all these other tough.
I had this as my hardest because
Okay.
there's 3 sets of back-to-back aways. You mentioned at Texas, that at Auburn, they're on the road at Troy and at South Alabama, who have been the 2 best teams in the division last 2 years. From the East, they get JMU and at Marshall. I think it's a brutal schedule, especially for ULM. It's going to be a tough year 1.
Yeah, I think this is a brutal schedule. What game are they favored in? Jackson State.
How
right?
stupid are they for putting a bye before the road trip to Texas?
Yeah,
That's a
what's
wasted
the point,
bye.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Colby, I think that's the only one they're favored in. And what are they favored over Jackson State by?
7, 6, something like that. Yeah, it's a dangerous game. I mean, if you're a Jackson State fan, you're saying, hell yeah, I'm glad we got him week 1. What happened to this program? They used to win FCS championships with Stan Humphries and shit. What's going on?
Got to get the right coach, man.
Yeah.
Wait, is Monroe, Louisiana, where the those movies? What were those movies? With the Coast
What are you
Guard?
talking? Tigerland? You think?
Tigerland? Yeah. Is that Monroe or is that?
I don't remember where that is.
It's one
somewhere
of those
in Louisiana. Somewhere in it might be Monroe.
I think it's Monroe. I don't think it's Lafayette.
Yeah.
I think it's Monroe. Yeah.
Either way, this is a ball buster of a schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine the win total on the year is gonna be like 1.5, and I might go under.
Yeah, and when will they bring back that sweet ass logo they used to have?
I think it's pretty badass.
That is fucking fire.
Gotta bring it back. You know, I'm
Absolute
seeing
fire.
Native Americans Guardian Association really, making some moves over there. I see in Utah the Redmen are maybe coming back.
That's what I'm saying. You should say it with pride. You know what I mean? They're a great part of American history, whether you want to talk about it or not. You know what I mean? Like, it's a huge part of this land's history. So,
Weehawk saying
to call them and represent.
Weehawk saying, does anybody have a non-con as tough as Texas and Auburn? Well, what about at Michigan and at Iowa State, like Arkansas State does? I would argue that's. What do you think?
See, the problem is what App State or Iowa State lost to Louisiana, but that was the year they had no fans.
Yeah, I guess this year
During
Texas might be better than Michigan this year.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, maybe you're right.
I feel like New Mexico. Can you bring up New Mexico's non-con? I feel like that. I mean, I guess in the Sun Belt to answer your question, yeah.
In the Sun Belt, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like Jackson State is probably a better, more talented team than ULM.
I think you're right. as far as like recruiting rankings go. I think Jackson State actually has a more talented roster than ULM.
I think I agree with you. 1.5 is probably an accurate place to set the win total here.
Colby, New Mexico is at Arizona and at Auburn. I would say at Texas is tougher than at Arizona.
I'm sure we haven't got to like UMass or UConn.
There were some other ones. I'm
sure. I think UConn's got like at Tennessee. Or no, that was last year. I don't know. I think what's UMass's road schedules? I feel like UMass has some of those independent schools get fucked. Maybe it's UConn. I don't know. But anyway.
Hey, let me ask you this. Bryant Vincent, last year, OC and quarterbacks coach at New Mexico, a 1-year stint there. Pretty good. New Mexico was all right last year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I mean, they fired their coach. I mean, that's why he left. But
why am I mistaken?
You're thinking of New Mexico State, buddy.
For some reason, I thought New Mexico was decent too last year. Okay, so he managed to get the head coaching job here at ULM, despite.
Well, he was the interim at UAB when they went bowling. So
he had been the OC at UAB for a few years and then took over the interim head coach job in 2022. He was at South Alabama before, so certainly familiar with the Sun Belt recruiting grounds.
Yeah,
but
and by the way, UMass has Missouri, at Mississippi State, at Georgia.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Back in black, paying the bills.
and what UConn's is what at Maryland, at Duke, at Syracuse. Oh, that and Wake. They're joining the ACC. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but UMass I think takes the cake, folks. Cody says, love Patty C for calling Michigan to win it all last year, beginning of the season. There we go. Horns down. Gary K's the fucking man. He's in here all the time. And shout out to Weehawk as always. Folks, we got the college basketball experience coming up. We also got sports gambling podcast. I got to get out of here. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at Patty C831. NC Nicks on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. Go listen to our Sweet 16 college basketball episode. We also did a Frozen Four as their tournament slaps off on Thursday afternoon. And
so that's called a slap off.
A slap
it
off.
Is now.
And don't forget that the college baseball experience has a scheduled episode for this weekend. We're rolling along here. The FCS college football experience has another live show Friday, but we just dropped transfer portal running backs, quarterbacks. Go check that out. And check out the Bottom Line Bomb. CJ Sullivan will be on the show in the coming days as well. Until next time, folks, this is the college football experience Sun Belt preview. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Run and shoot.